that's enough of that. That's enough. Look, I'll be honest. It broke. It all broke. As I hit, like, go live, it all broke. So, yeah, that's enough. That's enough music for now. That's enough of that. As long as you can hear me, that's the important bit. Oh, God. How are we doing anyway, gang? How are we doing? We're 10 minutes late, which is not what I was after. We're 10 minutes late. It's not what I wanted. I wanted to not be... Also, I've moved my camera a bit, and I didn't mean to do that either. We're later than I wanted to be, but it happens. It happens. But it only happens to me. Never happens to anyone else, does it? Does it? I mean, it does. It does. Question is the microphone working? Because it was working before I went live. It was working before I went live. And if it's not now, then I will be very, very sad. Absolutely gutted, in fact, because that won't be good. Technically only 9 minutes late. It shouldn't have been late at all. It was fine before. My God. Oh, thank you very much, Red Foreman. Excellent name. Now, this is where we find out whether Doreen has taken the day off or not. Has she taken the day off? Or is she going to do as she's supposed to? Don't tell me Doreen's taken the day off. Don't tell me it's happened. She's supposed to be talking, and I didn't hear her. Did you hear her? I bet you didn't hear her, did you? Although, actually, I think Doreen only talks if you spend $2 or more. I think that's the lowest I could get it. It's the least Tory amount that I could get the super chats to read out the thing. I think I might have to check. That that's the case, but I think it's a $2 minimum. I think for Doreen. Doreen didn't get out of bed for like less than $2. It is a scam, Daniel. It's an absolute scam. It's an absolute scam. She's got an attitude. She's got standards, yeah. Doreen's got standards. So essentially, if you super chat $2 or more, Doreen will read your message out. And I'd like to make it lower, but it's difficult. Oh. Ow. Ow. Hello, Rebel. I'll be honest, there's a high chance, right, whilst we're watching the preview, there's a high chance that I will be greasing up occasionally. They're starting at 2 PM. Guys, the reveals are starting at 2 PM. We're starting a little bit early, so we can ease into it. The reveals are starting at 2 o'clock. Do I need to put something on the screen that's like starting at 2? Is that what we need? We need a little pinned message. Can you pin messages in the chat? You can. Here we go. Right. I've pinned it. You now know what is going on.
The Omniscier is most displeased with you. Have you been drinking your oil and chanting your prayers to the machine spirits?
There we go. See, Doreen's on it now. She got out of bed. She got her microphone up. She was all ready to go. Allegedly, it's starting. So, oh God, we don't want stream chat, do we? Jesus Christ. Allegedly. It's not actually working. Look, I'm trying to get this sorted for you, gang, but Twitch is very frustrating. Oh, we've got ads. We've got ads, lads, because I'm not a... I do not have a membership to Warhammer TV. Because I don't have a membership to Warhammer TV. How are we doing, anyway? How are we doing? Are we all good this fine weekend? Yeah, if at some point I start greasing myself up, I had more of my sleeve done yesterday, so, like, all the, like, black bits are massively painful. I've decided that I don't care about the actual needles bit. The needles are fine. Doesn't hurt, the needles. It's just like, just a little bit scratchy, but it's whatever. Can do that for literally hours. It's the sore bit afterwards. It's like a couple of hours after that I start to, like, have an issue with it, which is you'd figure it would be like it's the being stabbed repeatedly that's the problem. No, it's the achiness afterwards. It's like the stabbing bit, fine. The achy bit, it's like, this is dreadful. Okay, you know what? I mean, I can show you what's going on, but it's not much. Oh, thank you very much, Pixelate. Look at this. We've got interactive quizzes. We've got quizzes, gang. Hang on, let me get the desktop audio up.
Heya, love your videos. Keep up the great work.
Blood work, the needle never bothers me. It's the fact my muscles are sore afterwards. Yeah, it's exactly that. It is exactly that. 2001 Codex Tyranids. Yeah, there we go. I thought it was third. I'm glad I got that right. I'm really glad I got that right. Oh, is sleeping on your left better for you? Oh, that's the one thing that I do that's better than other stuff then. What world did the Mantis Warriors chapter defend from a Tyranid invasion to prove their penitence? Indigo? Teberu L3? Jesus Christ, lads, what? Hiridian 4? Atlas Secundus? I have no idea. Not a clue.
How are they Tyranids when it was planet Tyran?
I mean, it's a good question. It's a good question, Red, and I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did. Hiridian 4. Herodian? I don't even know how to pronounce that. I've got no clue. I don't think they've said who's won yet. I think it's going to be like a surprise. Also, I don't know how loud the desktop audio is, so you're going to have to tell me when they start talking. In fact, if the music's playing, you can give me a good judgment as to whether it's too loud or not. Which of these is not a known Tyranid hive fleet? Lotan, Colossus, Moloch, and Basilisk, but spelt weird. Killer Kriegsman, I'm always thinking of steam tanks and a wall of new gun shield boys. I'm always thinking of that. I was going to say Moloch isn't Moloch a planet? Or am I misremembering? Oh my god. Oh, it's Basilisk. Okay. Well, here's the thing. It should be playing some music now. But if you can't hear the music, then that indicates to me that it's too quiet. Like, can you hear that at all? Because you should be able to hear something. can't hear anything from desktop. Well, that's not promising, is it? What if I turn this up? Let's see how... doing this. Can you imagine the organisation required for that? I'll do you a deal. Make Doreen say something and I won't insert an ad into the street. I'm joking, I'm not going to do that. Can you imagine? I mean, it's made me laugh. I wonder how many people left just saying that. Can you imagine, though? Can you imagine the audacity of that? Paul! Ah, amazing. Come on, Doreen. Doreen, come on. I know it's massively delayed. But
Drew Hari player here for the banter.
Nice. Thank you very much, Paul and Chris. Oh.
Ads for the ad gods. YouTube cares not from where the ads flow.
That was, like, again, the disconnect between, like, when I'm saying stuff and when you're seeing it is massive. So, I genuinely can't tell how good the timing was for that. But the timing, for me, at least, was yeah, immense. It was great. Didn't they all fight there? Probably. Just don't print Doreen's minimum price. Vote together. Doreen is getting, like, more delayed for you guys, I feel like. I reckon this question has lingered because they have a certain number left. And, oh, imagine if, right, the last question is who has won, Tyranids or Space Marines? I mean, it's a thing. It could be. Why isn't that full screen? There we go. Sorted it. Oh, AJ with the challenge there. Put all the ads in you like. I don't care. It seems like the gauntlet's been thrown there, gang. Are the Relictors heretics now? I mean, they were always dodgy. Like, they were always blatantly dodgy. We'll be right back. You haven't done anything.
Rambles.
So, wait. Firstly, thank you, Goof and Muffin. But, Muffin, your suggestion is that when they start talking, then I just put an ad out.
Hello,
That's
and
genius.
welcome to the Battle for
Okay,
Ogram
here we go.
Preview Online. I am Eddie, and I'm joined today by the
You can't see Eddie's name because I'm blocking it. Thank you very much, Christopher.
I'm good. I'm excited to see some.
Sorry,
new,
Goof. She
new
just doesn't
matches,
like.
and
She
to
doesn't
find out
like
who
New
won
Zealand.
The Battle for Ogram.
She doesn't like New Zealand. I'm sorry.
Who maybe don't know what happened in the Battle for Ogram. This was a global battle event.
I mean, that's pretty
where
funny.
Everybody who got a copy of the Leviathan box was able to send in the results of their
I've
first
got the
battle
book.
played with it, or a battle
I've got the
played with
book
it
from the
to us,
box. Does that
and
count?
then to decide the fate of a planet in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Either the planet would be saved by the heroic actions of the Space Marines, or
Save
it
us from the
would be devoured
corporate
by the
ramble to
forces of
instead hear the
Tyranids.
corporate ramble of
One of the things we'll
Coca-Cola.
find out
Well,
today is who
now that you
won
mention
that
it,
battle.
Indeed.
We'll find out very soon. And then the other thing we'll see is whichever the victor was, we'll have a look at their cool new models that are on the way. Yes.
you're going to tell me that
Did you
this is
get a
too
battle
quiet
pack?
again now because
I
they're
did
quieter than the
indeed.
music, aren't you?
I've built the entirety of the box.
Very well done.
I played against my brother, actually.
Right,
for
I've
me,
turned it up a bit.
it's won. What about yourself?
I didn't actually get a chance to play a game with the box. I have been playing quite a lot of Warhammer 40,000, but I didn't actually play mine.
We'll see how that
much
does.
much to my shame.
But if you had played, who would you have wanted to win?
I mean, I am an impartial observer.
Yeah, of course.
In this, so I couldn't choose a side.
I'm going to let Doreen go for this.
But you played another game as well, didn't
Eventually.
you?
Yes, and it didn't quite go.
What happened in your
the way I
second
wanted.
This
game?
pub
In the
quiz
second game,
sucks.
my
There isn't
Space
even a
Marines,
bar.
didn't
Thank you,
survive.
Greg.
Not for very long. Okay. But luckily, we used the first result. So the Space Marines.
Hello, what I presume to be fellow Genestealer cultists based on your enthusiasm for the glorious Star Gods. Ascendance is near.
Love it. Thank you very
if you
much,
played a game at
Xenoist.
home, and you're in the chat, let us know how your game went. We know some.
Right,
people
we happy
might
with the
have just
volume now?
not
We
played
happy
the
with
game
that?
and reported their thing. That's
Indeed.
okay. But we know.
If Marines won,
plenty
that
of people
chat
did
will
play their
riot. Do we
game
wanna
and
look
sent
at the
results
Twitch
in. So if
chat?
you played a game, let
We
us know
don't
how
wanna
your
look at the
game
Twitch-
went.
We don't want to look at the Twitch chat.
Lots of Tyranids.
A lot
of
of
Tyranids
Tyranids.
in the chat there. There's a few Space Marines too. That's cool. Orcs. There's an Orc.
Little bit
in there as
higher,
well.
just a
Right,
tiny bit.
Love your energy. It's great. Great to see. Do let us know where you're tuning in from as well, guys. It's always great to do
We'll
these
see how that
previews and
goes.
see thousands of Warhammer fans tune in from all
Doreen
over the
got
world.
there in
It's
the
really,
end.
really great.
She's slow.
One of
She's
the nice
old,
things about this
alright?
battle is that every
She's like
Leviathan box
80.
in the whole world had a code in that you could
Yes.
join in. So we did genuinely have entries from, I think, almost every continent in the world. And 100
perfection.
countries and loads of
Excellent.
places, which was really cool. So
Ow.
yeah, great to see that.
I keep putting my
Loads
arm
of
in
people
stupid
tuning in,
positions, then it
mix
hurts,
of
and I'm like, why does it hurt? Oh,
Portugal,
yeah.
Texas, Nottingham,
Massachusetts.
Germany. Awesome.
Be interested to see if anybody's tuning in from the Tacoma Open.
Of course, yeah. It might be quite early in the morning in the Tacoma Open right now, but
Yes.
they could be working up. They could have.
All right, that's close enough.
The other thing happening this weekend is the Tacoma Open in America, and after this show,
Do it, or
later
do
on
you
in the
just
day,
mute
there will
them
be
until the
live
thing
stream games of
starts?
Warhammer 40,000
Is
as
that
well, so
mean?
this
Is it
doesn't
though?
satiate your desire for live
Stalling
Warhammer
for that,
40,000
yeah,
content.
I
You
mean-
want to watch some games as well. Stick around for a few hours.
Look, here's the thing. They want to stall for a bit because, like, people don't show up the second you start streaming. It like, people show up as the stream goes on. And it's like 10, 15 minutes after you've started, that's where most of the people come in, and then you get stragglers after that. So they are 100%, like, filling time. But I get it. Right? I get it.
A few minutes to kill before we get to the results.
Also, Alex is
Alex,
nice.
what
I really
hobby
like Alex.
have
Alex
you
is a
got to?
nice guy. He's
Well,
a
as I
nice
said,
guy. I've
been building
interacted
the
with him.
Leviathan box,
And he's-
as a
he's
Salamanders
a
player
good
who's been desperate for these flamethrower Space Marines, the Inferno Squad. I've been converting them all to Salamanders.
Nice. What's the nature of the conversions?
Okay, but still. I mean, it's gotta be Tyranids. I genuinely think that there will be legitimate riots. If they're like Space Marines, it is. I feel like it's gonna be actual riots in the streets. It's gonna be riots in the streets, because frankly, at this point, don't get me wrong. I like me some Space Marines. I've got a bunch of stupid dreadnoughts up there. I like Space Marines, but do we need more? Do we need more? Mika, add time. Oh yeah. Just straight in with the ad. Just no chill. Just straight in with the ad.
Just noticed the Salamanders banner. Best chapter.
Thank you very much, Atreus. I mean, I like him. I do like salamanders. I'm not going to say they're one of the good ones because they're all pretty terrible. But in the grand scheme of things, they're not the worst. They're better than most. It'll be 3rd edition chaos all over again. Hang on, what's this shade up here, Brian? Brian, come on, Brian, there's no need for that. Notice how they didn't have any glitches when they started. Alright. Alright. Bit aggressive, innit? Bit aggressive. I didn't do anything. Wasn't my fault. YouTube changed the stream key. That wasn't me. I didn't do nothing. You can take that attitude and get out. What are you talking about? Also, how do you know they didn't have any issues? They went back to question 1 with the answer. They did all the questions. Then they said we'll be back in a minute. And then they were like, here's question 1 with the answer. And they did question 2 again. That's issues. That's issues to me. Totally issues. Totally issues. That's what that is. There's no way around it. I'm afraid. It's just how it is. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. Also, I'm going to do that thing that that YouTubers do that no one likes. There's a lot of you watching this, and only 94 of you have liked the stream. Now, I'm not going to say that it takes no effort, because you do need to move the mouse, but you could also get it together and get that like counter up a little bit. Just a bit. Just a little bit. You don't have to go wild with it. Just a little bit. Okay, let's see what we got.
Just about half the point to score, but you know that. Never mind, that's not important. The important thing is
important?
he contributes.
He's key.
Yeah, he's clutch, absolutely.
What about yourself?
So I've got. I've been painting some.
Nope. There we go. Look, I tried it to see if they were giving some results. There was no results given, so I muted them again. But I reckon any second now they're just gonna drop it in. They're just gonna drop it in, right? They're just gonna drop it in, and it'll be like, ooh. Now they're talking about stuff we need to see. What do we reckon? Should we do it now? Go for it now? Go for it now?
Like a really glorious spread of the Wild Riders. We're just filling a whole.
Like what are we at? We're at 7 minutes, so I reckon the 10-minute mark they're going to start giving us some info.
Craftworld expansion.
Do we agree?
Codex Eldar
10 minutes.
That had the Flameheart character on his little weird jet bikey conversion thing. So I'm going to see if I can fit him in as well.
That's very cool.
But yeah, it's
To be
probably
fair,
not the best way to
no
run
one
Eldar
remembers
army,
there's a
but
like button.
I think I'll do alright. Yeah, right. And I spend my time on there. I'm going to make them look real pretty. I've got a nice big Orca.
Amazing they've people presenting, not just hands.
I don't need to rush the army. Take my time.
I mean, you're not wrong. Thank you very much, Tim.
Cool. All right. How are we doing for time? Oh, we are closing in. I think we've got about 1 minute left before we can get to our first reveal video.
Oh, we're going to start at 9 minutes past, not 10.
If you are watching in the chat, guys, do let us know what Warhammer 40,000 projects you're up to as well. If anything catches your eye, Alex, you want to shout out any particular
I'll show you what I'm
projects that
working
we'll
on.
do. Show up.
That.
People,
But not really.
lots of people liking.
It should be that, but it isn't.
There's somebody asking which cult.
I'm actually working on
So
that
I
weird
started
thing over
painting
there
my
that you can't
Genestealers,
see.
when
hang on.
Deathwatch Overkill came out. So at that point, none of the
that
cults had
big
been
tall
established.
thing. That's what I'm really
so
doing.
I sort of made my own up to fit with the Tyranid army that I'd started painting.
See, I
before
can't
that.
mute now because we're too
it's
close.
The Cult of the Mantis.
We're too close.
Which is
You're just going to have to deal with it.
A subsidiary of High
I
Fleet
want to
Mantis,
see an
which is
Only Hands
Very cool.
So yeah,
Warhammer preview.
I made them up.
Just
Because
sock
there was
puppet.
only PP.
Sock
But there's loads
puppets.
of cool stuff now, and if I was doing it again, I'd probably
Sock
be Bladed
puppet.
Cog.
That's how you do it. An
because,
Only
I
Hands
really like the idea of
stream,
putting,
right? An Only Hands
uprising
stream.
on a,
Hang on.
Mechanicus,
I've got wires
battlefield
tangled
and
around myself.
mixing
Look.
lots of bionic-y stuff in. But
Yes.
that didn't exist when I started, so I didn't think of it.
This is revolutionary,
if I did
gang.
it from scratch, that's what I do. But
This
I
is
didn't,
revolutionary. Okay, so
There's a lot of people that
what you
seem to
do
have started
is you're
doing
down
it.
here, right?
Because I think they're awesome.
Right, you go.
Fair they come in that big box.
Yeah, but as I said,
You go-
as I
you're
said,
doing
I
Only
am an
Hands.
impartial observer.
Of course.
Space
Doing Only
Marines are pretty
Hands.
cool.
You go like,
They're both great. Right. Okay.
Down here.
We can. I think.
and then
Thank you ever so much for tuning in, guys. We
It's
can
an
now
Only
cut
Hands
to our
Warhammer
first video,
preview stream.
which will announce
this
the
is the
winner
future.
of the battle
Just
for Ogram.
think.
So hold on to your seats, guys.
You don't need to have
Roll
actual
for it.
presenters on screen. Oh no! There we go.
As the Grendelus tendril uncoiled across the Formidire system, its ravenous swarms
There we go.
descended upon the high world
Fixed
of
it.
Ogram.
Look at that.
The planet's skies darkened with spore storms and billion-strong swarms of winged biohorrors, and it seemed Ogram was surely doomed. Yet, the Imperial defenders stood firm. For every tide of Tyranids that overran
Yeah, nearly missed the announcement, doing a stupid hand puppet thing. On brand.
Another
On
was crushed
brand.
beneath the treads of guns of massed tank
Oh, now I've got
formations,
wires under my
straight
chair.
to ruin by relentless wings of gunships, or cut to pieces by coordinated space marine strikes.
All right, there we go.
The hunger of the Great Devourer is not so easily denied. Like a
Someone's going to clip
wounded
that,
beast,
for sure.
the Tyranid swarms reacted as one and lashed out with ferocious force. In the planet's last
So
hours,
stupid.
what vital relics and personnel could be salvaged were extracted from Ogram at great cost in rearguard troops and escorting void ships. They left behind a world that seethed with Tyranids in their billions.
Do we riot? Oh, look at that. Look at that.
was doomed.
Yes.
With its fall, the entire Formidire system, including the vital anchor world of Sanctum, was placed in greater peril than ever before. Reinforcements
You're right,
are
Stu. It would have been
coming,
easier to raise the desk.
and there is a whole galaxy
forgot I
to
could do
fight
that.
for.
Nice. Nice. Tyranids got it.
So there
Tyranids
we
got
go.
it.
The results of the battle for Ogram are in. It is a Tyranid victory. So
Solid.
congratulations for all of you who were rooting for the Tyranids and who contributed and played your games, sent in your results. Thanks so much for all of you who joined in. Really cool to be able to be part of this kind of cool moment. And then you can see there we've got
Nice.
some kind of lore as well that kind of establishes that planet, which is in your Warhammer 40,000 rulebook, by the way. I can't remember the exact page number, but you can go in there with your purple pen and scribble that.
I'm
on there.
genuinely surprised. I figured it would be
So,
either Space Marines or a
bits of
50-50
details,
split.
for you guys who are tuning in, it's a
Stop
Tyranid
the
victory,
vote.
of course. We had
Oh,
over
God.
44,000 results registered, which is really cool.
That's not bad.
Early on in the campaign, it was very, very, very close, like incredibly close. The lead changed several times in the first week, and at several points there was like
I mean,
one or two votes in it, and it was. We had thousands of entries, and it stayed within about 10 votes of each other for ages and ages, and kept like swapping.
I mean, like,
the
53%,
Space Marines
that's
edged
enough
ahead
to
at the end
leave
of
the
first week.
EU.
I think at that
So-
point, we put an update out into the world, and
Clearly-
this is the results as it
clearly a
stands.
great
Space
number.
Marines ever so slightly ahead, and at that point, that seemed to galvanise the
I shouldn't bring that up,
Tyranids
I
players
apologise.
and fan base perhaps, and then we started to see the results swing in slightly the other direction, and once that snowball started, it didn't really stop, and the Tyranids came out on top. So final result:
Someone's getting fired 'cause
53% to
Tyranids won.
47% to the Space Marines. So there you go, guys. There you go.
That's it, awfully close. I remember asking for an update a little while ago, and you said that there was literally, I think it was 18 games in it, and given the thousands
Jeez.
and thousands
18
of
games in it is actually really
Has-
cool.
has any
Genuinely
of our
cool.
campaigns ever been that close?
I think this is probably the closest one we've had. Certainly early on. What quite often happens is that after about one day, it's very apparent which way the wind is blowing,
Yes.
right? So
I mean-
we're like, it makes our lives much easier as well because we get to plan this event really far out. And
If people sent in results saying Tyranids won even if they didn't play, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. It's fine.
and really cool. But thanks ever so much for tuning in, guys. What that means is two things. The first of them is that some of the people who entered will be
Get
will actually
Ogram
win
done.
some prizes,
The
which is
Swarm
cool.
Lord,
So
probably.
those people have been reached out to
Oh,
already.
amazing.
So keep an eye out on your inbox for that. We got 5 winners.
Oh, I don't
basically.
think Doreen is
stuff
Doreen going to
entering,
get
which
out
is
of bed
cool.
for this one.
But
Let's
what most
do
people are tuning
Eldar
in for
versus
today is to
Death
have a
Guard
look
next
at
for more.
The
I
new
agree, Mika.
miniatures for the winning faction.
Doreen
so we
got out
can
there for
now
that.
take a look
She
at
liked
some
it.
of the
She
new
liked that one.
Tyranids. We have a few videos to run through, quite a few new things on the way for Tyranids. So without further ado, let's have a look at the first film.
Let's go. Let's go, gang. Solid music.
So, some brand new Genestealers. So,
That was
very,
a
very cool.
quick little
Genestealers,
video.
obviously, an absolutely iconic part
Oh, yes.
of Warhammer 40,000 lore. Alex, you know all about Genestealers. What are these guys about?
Yeah, so these guys, as you said, they've been around for ages. In fact, they were possibly one of the first things
It's-
that the Imperium
it is
encountered,
so
for the
about
High
time
Fleet,
this happened.
on Ingal, where they
It's
assumed
like-
that these were sort of like native inhabitants.
Oh my
But then
God,
they
how
featured,
old is the current version?
Tyran, they've basically featured in every High Fleet that's come along since, and they're
It's been so
possibly,
long.
the
Like,
most,
so long.
I wouldn't necessarily say common, but
Most
Well,
widespread.
real.
yes,
Yeah.
because you'll often get them, say, hiding away on transport ships. They'll be buried under a hive where they're just awaiting the day of ascension with the cult.
The
But there'll
balance
be,
looks better on
say,
these.
a whole colony of them on a Space Hulk. So
Proportions
these guys
feel like
could
they look a
be
bit better as well.
anywhere, and they probably are everywhere.
Yeah, so if you're in the 41st millennium, you're probably never more than about 20 meters from a Genestealer.
No,
is
I
that
kind
what
of
you're
need
saying?
to see them next to the
That's
other ones,
not what I
but
would say for imperial reasons. For,
oh, yeah, we've got a tactical pipe, we've got tactical
But
rubble.
this is a really exciting kit
We've
for a bunch of
got-
reasons. One of them is that it's great
we
every
do-
time we see like a
maybe
really
we do have a
classic kit
tactical rock. It's
reimagined.
hard to-
These are really cool
not
dynamic
a full
miniatures.
tactical rock.
It's a long time coming for a new multi-part Genestealer kit. Obviously, you can use these in a few ways. You can absolutely put them straight into your Tyranid army as Genestealers.
Oh, yes.
I'm quite sure that a lot of Genestealer cult players like myself will also be
Yes.
eyeing
I
these
mean,
up for
they
pure
look-
strain
they look
Genestealers
decent.
because they fit perfectly well into
They do look decent.
into a Genestealer cult force. There's a few things worth calling out
16-ish
about the
years.
kit
I mean,
itself.
yeah, it's-
aren't there?
it's about right, isn't
I
it?
think we've got some close-ups in the
Oh,
next
no.
picture, so we can talk
Here
about
we
some
go.
of the options, which I think for the most part are aesthetic.
Rip
but
the
still,
unpainted old
you know, you're gonna
Genestealers
lean
in my
into and make
pile,
this unit the one you
LMAO.
want it to be.
Indeed, so you can see there in the top left the Imgal,
F's in chat for No
head
Away From
with those
Home.
feeder
Thank you very
tendrils,
much for the super
so
chat.
that, if there's any brain matter left, they can gobble
Delicious
it up
brain.
and
I'm
see
going
Oh,
to
see
yummy
get
what's
one
brain.
for
going
you.
on. And I believe there is enough
That
of
head
those
is
in the
immense.
kit to
I
make
love
the
the Cthulhu
entire
head.
set Imgal
I love it.
Genestealers.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So
So
if
good.
you've got you particularly like that aesthetic,
So
you
good.
either want them to look like first contact Genestealers
Comrade
from the moons of
Dyatlov,
Imgal,
I think you'll find
or you've
I've got
kind
more
of
than
lent
just a
into that
Baneblade.
kind of horror
I'm all
from
about
the
the
deep kind of
tanks.
vibe for your Tyranids, and you've got lots of Lictors and Death Leapers and stuff like that. Then you can lean quite heavily into that aesthetic and go for tentacle face.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then we've
If
got
there was a
down at the
tentacle
bottom
face
here,
head for every single
so
Genestealer,
is
that
this
would
the
be
proboscis that
elite.
we can use to infect people.
That would be
I
the
think
best.
it is, yeah. So that's the thing that's going to be implanting the eggs into the
That'd be
unfortunate
great.
hosts. It's probably best not to think too much about exactly how that works and exactly what it means
please.
for the host. But yeah, unpleasant things happen to you basically once Genestealers
Nids,
get within
NIDS,
within a meter or so.
NIDS, 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 NIDI,
Someone in the
NIDS.
chat has just called it the ovipositor.
That
Cheers,
is indeed the
Grace.
correct name. Yes.
Doreen
The
didn't know what to
place
do with
that
that, did she?
So a
She
few colour
didn't know
schemes
what
on
to
there as
do
well.
with it at
Obviously,
all.
Genestealers
She
have
got
their
Nids
kind of
right first.
normal,
What was with the rest of that
very
message?
recognisable purple and blue palette, which is the
What
one you
was
can see in the
that?
top left there. That is the one they tend towards when they're left kind of out in Space Hulks and things by themselves, which is quite kind of ties in quite nicely to your Leviathan colour scheme. But you can also paint them obviously
Yeah,
in line with whatever
these look good.
hive
These
you've
look
got. So
really
if you've
good.
got
I feel
hive
like the
Kraken, as
proportions
you
are
can see
better.
there on the right.
They seem just
look
a bit like
perfectly
meaner.
Cool running around.
The
in,
details obviously like a lot
carapace,
sharper, a
bone
lot
and
more
red,
crisp.
or whatever.
That
other
I mean
colour
that
palette you've got in your,
tentacle head
hive.
is the
I
absolute
love
best.
the dynamism of these, as you said, because these are obviously like an update of an old kit. That
Maybe
yeah,
look,
it had some
someone
great
try and
running
get someone
kind of
fix
poses to it,
Doreen.
but
Someone
yeah,
try and get her
can
to just
imagine
say
running
NIDS
through,
instead of
space
NIDS,
corridor or a
NIDS.
ship
There's got to be a way to do it,
bursting
right?
Through the door, and there's a couple of them that are say jumping off pipes.
She just lost it. She
walls,
absolutely
that
lost her
kind of thing.
mind there.
This really does feel like
The rending
these guys,
claws
you can see
are
there on the
comically
right,
big, but
that
then
they're coming straight for you.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
like
like
the
I feel like I'm okay with that.
as well. So I think if you look at the length of the
Oh,
the
is
talons
Doreen
and the length
massively
of the arms
loud?
compared
She
to
shouldn't
maybe
be. I've turned
some
it
of the
down.
older Genestealers we've got, they seem more.
I'll try
alien,
turning it
more-
down a little
So
bit.
they've got that kind of weird
See what we
Tyranid
can do.
arm, and then they've got their much more human-looking digits that you can imagine opening doors and things. So they're just like absolutely horrible, terrifying monsters from space. But I'm absolutely going to get a
Yeah,
bunch of
I
them
mean
on my
it's the
own.
same with a lot of the
Great.
stuff they've done
Right,
recently.
so that's
right?
one unit. That was
So,
cool.
like,
It's nice to see
Alex
some
just
new
said they're very
Genestealers.
faithful recreations,
That's
just better.
tick one
That's
off the
ju- that's
nostalgia
what
list
Games
for
Workshop
Tyranids.
are doing a
There's
lot
might
of.
be a few more things
We
on
do
the way.
get like brand new stuff, but
Let's
a
have
lot
a
of the
look
time
at the
we're getting
next
just
unit.
old stuff, but way cooler. Cool. We already knew this was happening, though. We already knew this was going to happen. We already added the type of gaunt, so daft if they didn't release these. Still nice to see, though. Oh, was that a different gun? What was that gun? Pyrovores.
So, some new gaunt options for your Tyranids. There is a new multi-part Hormigant unit, which is very
So we've got
cool.
new Hormigants,
and
Did
Tons.
anyone
an
actually
expansion
think
to the
Space
Termagant
Marines
unit
wouldn't be
that we
kept
saw
for Gen Con or
first in
another
the
big
Leviathan set.
show?
So, if you
Ooh,
have a look
hey,
at
that's a
the
theory,
Hormigants
Red.
first,
That's
so
a
this
theory.
is a kit that has been in
Thank you
plastic
very
for a
much
little
for the
while,
super
but
chat. Yeah,
certainly
that's-
has been showing its age a bit. So,
Yes.
very cool to see a new, much more detailed, very cool,
I
very dynamic
I do
unit.
like the new Hormigants. They do look
They are
quality.
absolutely
Nids.
recognisably the Hormigants that you kind of imagine in your mind, but the level of detail on them,
She like
the
threw up
dynamism,
saying
the
that,
speed that they're kind
plebiscite.
of
Doreen nearly threw up saying
displaying
Nids.
is just much cooler.
Nids.
2 decades more miniature development, I suppose, versus the last time we
She
saw
did
them.
it, but she didn't
So
like
yeah,
it.
these guys, they're the basic battle line for the Tyranids. And
The
they'll get
poses
dropped
on
onto
these are
planets
great.
and ships, you name
That
it,
would be
just in
great.
their billions.
Like, there's
And
so much
they
more,
make
like,
up for the
there's so much more
quality
movement
with
going on.
quantity. And they've got all the teeth, all the claws. Because
There's
even
a lot
they're
of
a little bit
movement.
fragile. You know, they'll take fire and they'll die.
And it
but
looks like,
you
are they
know,
on
you've got
next?
10,000 of
I
them,
haven't actually paid
on the
attention
other side
to
of the
like the
battlefield.
the
It's
size
just
of the
gonna wash
bases on
over
the
and make a
termagants.
Yeah, and they're
are
quite
they
fast
one?
as well.
Are they
so
a base
they
size
tend
up?
to be the
I think they are,
wave
aren't they?
of gaunts that kind of hits first to tie up enemy units. So they're pretty deadly if you're fighting against something like guardsmen or guardians or fire warriors or something. They can definitely
do
chop
look
up light
absolutely
enemy
solid.
infantry. But the thing that they kind of excel at really is just getting loads of them
I
up
think
into
as
the
well,
middle of the enemy
like
army,
increased
tying up tanks,
base
stopping
size
stuff moving.
and
If you're
those
playing
poses being a bit more
these
central.
are great to kind of
I don't
block
think we're
going to
see
near
them like
objectives
falling
and that
over
sort of stuff.
constantly
So
now.
a really cool unit on a lot.
I think the
of
old
people's
days of
bucket
them
list as well
falling
for,
over every single
the
time you
Tyranid
put them on the
units they wanted
table.
to see. So there you
I
go.
think that's
Hall
gone
Minutes
now.
ticked off. Some more of those on the way. There's a nice
it's gone,
closer
which
look
is-
at some of those units.
honestly,
So there's
gonna
miniatures.
miss that.
Some of them in a very cool kind
Gonna
of
miss
jumping
that
pose.
because
as
that was
well,
one of the
which we
best.
haven't really
I
seen
say
before.
best.
And of course you get a
It wasn't one of the best things about
And
it.
a
It was really
Ripper Swarm,
annoying.
So a few of the Tyranid units come with a Ripper Swarm. So by the time you've kind of collected a Tyranid army, you will have a
28 mil
enough
for
to
new
kind of put together a
models.
unit
Okay.
just by dint of having collected
Cool.
the rest of the miniatures.
Or an entire
Yeah,
width
there's some
army.
cool poses in
I
there.
mean, you could try do a Ripper
I'm
army.
not
I'm not
saying it
sure.
The
would
one that's
competitive,
super.
but-
There's two that are like
Yeah, I mean,
really.
yeah, sure, why not? Go for it. You do you, Alex. That's fine. So there you go.
Well,
so
there's
Hall Minutes,
one
very
that's really
cool.
vertical
We've
that I'm
also
not
got
a big
some
fan
new
of, but the
termagants.
others look
So
decent.
termagants, obviously, we've seen the first of those new termagant miniatures in the
And
Leviathan
then we've got
box.
extra weapons
But
going on.
this kit has got a few extra things that the Leviathan set didn't have. So Alex, do you want to talk us through
More options,
what's new?
basically,
So
for the
as we saw in
standalone
the Leviathan
box,
kit, they've
which makes
all got
sense.
flesh borers. So that's basically like
Makes a
little
lot of sense.
borer beetle that's inside and flings
Yeah, a
itself out
thicker
and then
tail
chews
to
its way through the
stabilise
target.
the
Whereas
model.
you get several different options in this one. You've got the classic kind of spine fists, firing out little bits of chitin at the enemy. You've got the devourers that you can see there on the vast majority of them.
Yeah. Instead of one
Devourers,
beetle, it's
spine
just 5
fists.
loads of grubs.
Yeah, like that, the end of that gun is basically just like rotting you.
Just fires a
And so
load
when
of
it
grubs.
fires those out,
I mean,
then the little grubs
not
start to
wrong,
burrow in.
but
There's
it's
lot
just
of
a
burrowing.
funny
Yeah,
description.
If it's not acid, if it's not digestive fluids, it's probably something that's going to burrow into you. But
I'm pretty
you've
sure
also
that's what
got,
Doreen was
you can
suffering
see down
from when
on
she
the
said
left,
NIDS
that chap
earlier,
there with
an
the
issue with
shard
digestive
launcher.
fluids.
So it's basically the same kind of parasitic weapon that we've seen with the barb gaunt.
Tyranid brand
Got
massage
in the middle there
guns.
is the strangle web launcher, and then you've got the spike rifle there next to him. I believe you've got one of these, but the old school version.
So some of these
So I was
are
gonna say
really,
the
really
spike rifle
deep
is a
cut
reference in
back
it.
to some of the very, very early Termagant miniatures that
Yeah.
came out in metal in second edition, I think it was. So I've got a very, very old Termagant at home with a spike rifle. And effectively, what these options do is they throw
So
in
old
some
reference to
special
a metal
weapon options,
Termagant
effectively
from
into
way
your
back in the
Termagants. So,
day. That's
much
cool.
in the same way that you
That's
might have
nice.
a Space Marine squad or an Astra Militarum squad with like a plasma gun in it or a flamer or
Yeah.
something. They give you a little bit of tactical flexibility to kind of throw in some other weird symbiote weapons. They just
It's
look
interesting
kinda
though,
cool,
innit?
As well. So you've got
A lot of stuff they're
a
trying
bit
to
more option and
simplify and make it so
flexibility
there's
in
less
terms of what you
options,
wanna
and
do
so
with
it's just
that
easy to
unit.
pick up and
Which,
play.
if you've been
But then for the stuff they're just
enjoying
introducing
Tyranids for 20 plus years,
more.
also has like a nice
which
little
I'm not
Tyranids.
complaining about. Having choice is way
I
better.
love the way
But it's interesting to see how that's going to interact with the fact that right now we don't have anything in the way of like
separate life form.
points
Yeah.
for
To
war
the,
gear options.
uh,
So
main
presumably,
body
depending on
of the
how
Tyranid.
good those guns are,
You
it's
can
like,
see here
well,
just
why
the
would you
way
bother
basically like
not
flesh
taking them when
tubes
you get them
come in and out
effectively
of the
for
guns.
free?
Yeah, they're pretty grim.
It's just obviously
Gonna be interesting to see what people do with that, to be
plastic
honest.
and that kind of thing. You can get this level of definition into them. And it
They
is
do look good though.
absolutely
Just the new gaunts.
Yeah, I think
Gants.
the paint scheme on these. So
Either
these are
way.
the new weapons. Basically, got a nice close up on them.
They
The
look
paint
really
schemes on
decent.
these is really nice as well. So you've got like you can tell where the one creature starts and one creature
Yes.
stops, sort of thing. So that the heavy metal team obviously have done a wonderful job of capturing that. If you wanted to paint these much faster, you'd be well within your
Tyranid
rights to
leaf
just go. Actually, you know
blowers.
what? Everything that's
Oh,
chitin
yeah.
is one
That's
color.
gotta be some merch
the
that
armor plates are a different color. So you could
Warhammer
paint these
can-
up
that
very
Games
quickly if
Workshop
you
can
wanted
sell.
to with contrast paints and things, or if you wanted to kind of take your time over them and really make them.
Yeah, feel more like a
beautiful models,
tactical
I think
squad.
You absolutely could.
Which
I
that's
really
just
like
super
the spike
interesting to
rifle. I
me
think
because
it's
it's
pure
like they've made
nostalgia
those
for
more
me.
complex, whilst
That's really
overall
cool.
reducing the
But
complexity
the one
of
top right,
the
sorry,
main
remind me
squads
the name
that
on
Space Marines have.
that one.
That is the strangle web.
The strangle web. I love love how the tube is coming out of him into the gun in a sort of really weird parasitic sort of way. So a lot of the Tyranid weapons
Jesus Christ.
It's not like a happy partnership, is it? It's kind of sucking the life force out of the host beast to power the weaponry.
Hello, Angus. How you doing?
Oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's just a walking battery for a gun, right? Basically,
the termagants, when they were originally created, were kind of.
I'm not a NID expert, but I'm pretty sure the NIDs are always loading.
They were like
the
white blood
regulator.
cells, weren't they? They were like they're running through to kind of do the jobs and tasks of the circulatory system. Almost.
And it's really nice to see
every
the
fight
between the Homer Gaunts and the termagants.
Yes, Outpost Concord, the NIDs did win.
But these guys
which
are
is
a little bit
quality,
more crouched
frankly.
down and compact for getting through those tiny tunnels, whereas the Hormagaunts are a little bit more spread out with their jumping, their leaping. You can see the speed in them as well.
Yeah. So when the hive ships are kind of in the void, it tends to be the termagants are the things that are awake, aren't they? They're the kind of.
Is that gun the same as the one on the Bargaunts, or is the Bargaunt one a little bit different?
Cleaning out any kind of body who's foolish enough to try and board a hive ship.
You
can't think of much worse, to be honest, but I mean, some people might try it.
The one on the right looks like a horse's old fella.
Yeah.
And then you just swarm them with termagants.
Well,
absolutely.
Well,
right. That's
all right.
very cool. I think
Okay.
we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but I think it's okay. We can probably jump ahead to our next one. So we've seen some new
ahead of schedule.
Genestealers.
They're not
We've seen
filling
some
time
new
enough.
Gaunts.
Yes.
They're not filling time enough.
Here's some slightly bigger stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, what the hell is... Okay, what is this? Oh, yeah. Oh, that is solid. Well, we already know about it, but... Oh, does that mean dual kit, maybe? No, it doesn't. Does it? Oh, yeah. Oh, those... I mean, we already saw the middle lad, but that's delightful.
So,
That
Lictors
is
obviously
delightful.
have been a big part of the
New
Tyranid force
Lictor
pretty much since they've been with us
is
in
10 out of 10.
Warhammer 40,000. But it's not just
Oh,
one
welcome
new
to the
Lictor
gang,
we've got
Zoni.
for this
Zoni?
new edition. Already,
bad
we've
names.
seen the Von Ryan's Leapers, which we saw in the Leviathan box set and
Actually,
the
a
starter
full
set for Warhammer
new
40,000.
That
We
is
also have
class.
classic Lictor.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Alex, what are these guys about?
So the Lictor is basically, it's sort of the original Vanguard organism.
It
The
looks
Lictors
like it's
chalk
got to
on
be.
different planets.
It's got to
They've
be
got
a
chameleon-like
dual kit.
skins, so they can blend
it?
in, hide. They can assassinate key targets, cause a bit of mayhem. But they can also, you
Angus,
can see there with the feeder
He's bringing the
tendrils,
tone down.
say they've killed the
Lictor, I
commander.
hardly knew her. There's no
Pop
need
off
for
the
that.
head, eat the brain,
There's no need.
some information, send it back to the Hive Fleet.
Yeah, that
and
is
then
great.
They're the equivalent of, say, assassins and scouts. So you've got the
Oh.
lay of the land, you've got some information, and you've caused some trouble.
The whole
So
like
these
body
guys,
layout of
yeah,
Lictors
they
now.
scout well ahead, sort of in the same
Well,
way.
I suppose
that
actually the older
Genestealers
Lictor
do,
wasn't that
but the
different in
outcomes are
terms of
very
body layout. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, so you'd have a few of the... Once you've basically got a few
Really,
Lictors on your
really
planet, they
creepy.
also send that kind of
Oh,
call out
welcome
the Hive
in,
Fleet.
Beardo, from
they
Quiet
tend to
Order
kind of
Gaming.
somehow infiltrate into the planet ahead of time. If
Thank
there's
you
lots
very
of
much.
GC biomass, they'll scout it out, not just
Oh,
calling
that
the
is
fleet
a
in, but also
great
kind of
pose
getting
they've
key
done on that other
intel,
Lictor.
literally
Ooh, look at
pulling
that.
information out of the minds of enemy commanders. And
That's
things.
interesting.
It's often one of the
So
the troubles
properly
when you've
posable
got,
then?
say, a planet's
Properly
being invaded,
posable?
You've got lots of refugees coming off the planet. There's always
It does
that
look it,
fear
doesn't
that
it?
There's going to be either a Lictor.
Those two
hidden on
poses,
board,
I mean, the
either
leg
compromised
poses,
in
I
the hull,
believe, are
or
the
there's gonna
same.
be some Genestealers
I
on
think.
board.
It looks like they
I'm
attach the
honestly
same
not
way no
sure
matter
which
what you
is
do.
worse.
But
Yeah, so they've
that
some
hunched
options in
over
the kit
with
as well,
arms
which you can
down
see there. So
and with the
first
claws
Lictor we saw very
compressed,
kind of
that is great.
I suppose poised and ready to pounce with
Yes.
the arms out.
Oh, yeah.
This one in the Behemoth color scheme is much more kind of crouched. So this one looks like
Yeah,
it's
that's
mid-stealth sort
really
of thing. So you
nice.
can imagine them
I
tucked into
really
the
like
shadow
that.
in a rock somewhere, or kind of scouting around the edge
So,
of the building.
like,
They're quite big
let me
models,
get
so
you.
these are slightly bigger than Tyranid warriors, so they're standing taller than like a Terminator
Oh,
or
yeah,
something. So
that's-
even one Lictor jumping onto a squad or
that's
something
made me
is
real
usually
happy.
enough to kind of take out a small
Like,
infantry
actually
squad off,
properly
threaten
posable.
small vehicles and things like that.
That's good.
In game
That's
terms,
good.
they've got some really fun mechanics to kind of represent some of that stuff. So they get infiltrate, which means they can start kind of wherever they want to on the battlefield, but almost not.
I mean, yeah,
not
it looks
anywhere,
like it's
but
the same
quite a lot of
kit.
places. They have strike first, which means that even when they
Different
get charged,
rock?
they get to kind of
Oh,
fight
yeah,
you
no,
first.
you're
They
right,
got
that
lone
is a different
operative, which
rock.
means they're quite hard
Good
to pick
spot.
out and target. They got stealth, which means they're harder to hit. They've got precision, on their weapons. So that means that when they fight an enemy unit,
Only Vors
you can
left in
basically
resin?
pick out the commanders and eat those first, which is really
I
cool.
think you might be right.
And then to go along with
Yeah,
that,
no,
they've
Red
also got
Terror
the
isn't a
ability that
Lictor.
when you kill enemy characters,
Red Terror's
you gain command
got,
points,
like-
which basically represents you.
Hasn't got any
eating
legs,
the
has it?
brain
It's
of
got the long
commander and
tail
getting
thing.
vital intel sort of thing. So all that cool lore that Lictors have always had
Yep.
is actually really well represented in the way that they play.
I
in
can't
the
remember
game,
what
which is really
the
nice. But it's not
Ravener,
just Lictors. We've got
that's it,
more
thank
cool
you.
stuff.
Yeah.
This guy. So this
Yeah,
is
I
a
think- yeah, you're right, Holly.
Neurolictor. So this is a brand new thing. We've never seen this guy
That is
before.
mad.
It is
What
a new
is that?
variant on the kind of Lictor genus. Alex, what do we know about Neurolictors?
So Neurolictors, yes, they're essentially a variant of the Lictor.
They grabbed a Lictor,
and their deal
then they
is basically to
slammed it
sow
together with the
terror
new
and
Neurotype.
confusion. If anybody was on the Leviathan, the big Leviathan live we did, I did a bit of a reading that involved.
What is going on with that spike on the
and
back
one
of
of
the
the things they
head?
like to
Is
do
that
in lore
like
is
the
say you've got
tentacle that's
battle
coming out
line
of the back of the head?
They'll,
Is that what that is? 'Cause
spike
it looks
them,
like it,
basically.
doesn't it?
It's referred to by the Imperials as the mark of the
I want to
Neurolictor.
spin it. I want to
Basically,
spin it
A
round.
bunch of the guys on the battle line turn their weapons on their
Can't do
friends.
that.
They're panicked.
But I want it.
You know, they forget what they've seen. You know, they might let other Vanguard organisms through.
What a
basically
pose as
sows
well.
Terror. And
What a pose
confusion,
on that.
And
It's a
on
very,
the
like-
battlefield as well. You know, if you're playing
Like the
on
lower
tabletop,
body is like
they can
turned, but
force
the upper
enemy
body
units
is
to take
straight
battle
on,
shock
and it's
tests,
like
and if they fail the battle shock tests,
it's
some
so
pretty dire
dramatic.
things can happen.
Yeah, so it combos really nicely with some of the other abilities that you've got
What?
with Tyranids. That they do have a lot of kind of.
It is fully doing like an
battle
actual
shock
actual
mechanics.
pose.
So, like, if you failed a battle shock, then X happens, and they've got other ways of
Proper.
making you take battle shock tests.
What an
and
absolute
having
drama
bonuses to
queen.
hit or minuses to
The
you if you've
Neurolictor
taken
is, look
battle
at
shock. And this is basically another unit that does some of that stuff. It also fights pretty well, so it's still a Lictor, so
I mean, I
it's
like
still
it,
got
it's
your
good.
kind of precision attacks and your infiltrating and your fights first and all that sort of thing. So it's another.
Okay, there we go.
If you want to lean
So,
very heavily
si-
into the kind of Lictor
Wow.
archetype and have multiple
really is, like,
Vanguard
properly
organism things
twisting
in your army, then this is
fully-
this is
not
a
fully
psychic
round,
tool
but
that you can add to the
Then
already
we've got
pretty
a
horrible
weird tentacle
combat
coming out
tools
of the back of
you've
the
got.
brain.
There is
Nice.
in a cool color scheme there, just chowing down on some
That
Drukhari.
brain tentacle, I'm loving that actually. That's
Yeah, but
that's
very
immense.
very cool model. You can see the back
That's
of the
great.
model there. There's a weird kind of parasitic symbiote psychic thing. The more
nice.
you look at the new Tyranid models,
Oh.
the more you find kind of.
Speaking of Dark
weird
Eldar, there's one of their
psychic
weird
organisms,
creepy
parasites
creatures
and
on the
stuff.
picture
Like,
there.
There's, there's loads of. I've said before, like you could absolutely paint them very quickly and just go. There's some bits that are purple and some bits that are bone
Been
colour.
teasing a
or
lot
you
of
can
snake
really
tails
spend your time
recently.
and kind of paint all your
Quite
weird
possibly.
little parasites and symbiotes
Yeah.
and minor organisms.
Yeah,
and all
I
sorts of
like
different
that.
colours if you wanted
I
to.
like it. It's
So
silly.
It's been a real
It is silly,
expansion of kind of
but
the psychic
it's also
organisms,
Yes.
with
really cool.
Leviathans new.
which
A lot of
I
brain,
think is
a lot of big
fine.
glowing alien
Yes.
brain in the new Tyranids. Cool.
Lot
So
of exposed
we've seen this
brain.
model before. This
Yeah,
is
the
this is a
Death
Death Leaper. So the reason we've brought him back is just to give you a piece of information about how the Tyranid army can work. So obviously we've got the Von Ryan's Leapers, we've got Lictors, we've got the
so
Neurolictor.
good.
And
Death
if you
Leaper.
wanted to as well, you've got the Imgal Genestealers, which you can give kind of lictory looking tentacle faces.
yeah, that's
One of
great.
the ways that you will be
I
able
know
to
we've
play
already
the
seen
Tyranid
it, but
army
it's still badass.
when the Codex releases is
It's
you can
still
effectively make them
awesome.
a Vanguard force. And what that does is it gives you a bunch of bonuses to your Vanguard style organisms like Lictors.
This
and
is
Death
your
Leapers and
half-hour
Neurolictors.
reminder to like
and
the
you've got
stream
enough
if you
models
haven't.
now that actually you can kind of just have those if you want. If you just want
There's very
kind
few
of
things I
mantis,
do that,
strikey,
you know,
weird army,
all
you can absolutely
YouTubers
do that. If you do that,
I'm
and you
adding
choose to
liking
take that kind
things
of
to
army,
the list,
you
but
can
only
take Death
today.
Leaper as your general.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
I'm
So
gonna
this
stop
guy
after
basically
today.
is your Vanguard commander, I guess, and he wraps up all the rest of those Lictor
Yeah,
style
the Death Leap is fantastic.
species under his
I
banner
was like a
into
bit-
probably one of the most
I was a bit
horrific
kind of
armies to fight
mid
against
on it.
in the entire
There were
galaxy.
bits I
and
really
that's
liked and bits I
saying
wasn't
something,
sure
'cause the
about,
galaxy's
but
so
then
small.
So
the
this
more
guy, yeah,
the more I looked at it and the more
basically an
people
advanced
pointed out different
Lictor,
inspirations
and
for it, the more I was
instead
like,
of
oh, you know what,
just
actually
doing
this
the
is
kind of
absolutely
stealth,
solid and I really,
highly
really like
Napoleonic
it.
thing,
So
this guy's all about terror. So
Yeah.
if one of
Yep.
your commanders has been
the
assassinated.
Death Leaper
and
can
you know it's a
stay
Lictor,
just
it may
as well
very
as only
well
just
be this
arrived.
guy. He's going to leave corpses everywhere.
A Lictor army would
devour
be
heads.
hilarious, and
But
I
as you
fully
say, there's a
approve of
really
anyone
nice
attempting to
balance
make such a
between,
thing.
Say, having this chap leading your Vanguard organisms, killing things left and right.
I think the meat
regular
skirt
Lictors
is like
going around, you know,
like
maybe damaging
contractable.
lands, but then at the same time, the Neurolictor
Can like
coming
make it
in,
all small or
and
make it
your
massive.
commander, if he's not been killed yet, he's going to go crazy.
Like the vampire
And-
squid or
and you
whatever
can
it was.
imagine that once your
Vampire
command
octopus,
structure's
vampire
gone,
squid.
How easy it's going to be for the rest of the Hive
Yeah, it does have a similar brain tentacles than your Lictor.
So yeah, very exciting
Definitely.
stuff for Tyranny players. Some really interesting ways to
The squiddly,
approach
but-
that army too. I think also I have a treat for painters there as well.
Oh,
If
yes.
you're going
He's got a flesh cape because he's
going to really lean into that kind of chameleon
stylish.
style, there's lots of very interesting
All
ways
right.
you could approach the
you
painting.
don't need.
That'd be cool.
Sometimes you just need
Right.
a flesh cape.
We're not done yet. We've got some
Save you
more
by
things.
degrees.
So we've seen the line troops, we've seen the strike troops, we've seen the infiltrating
here we
troops.
go.
They are gonna need some fire support.
Yes.
So let's have a look at our next.
Oh,
video.
are we going to see new Vor lads, whatever they're called? The ones with the one with the gun coming out the top. Jesus Christ, what the hell is that?
Neuronid brain is the same color as your hair man, Neurokyrio.
I am the new Tyranid unit, it's true. Thank you very much, Beardo. That
So,
looks mad.
As, I think Raph
That
said before
looks
we started the
mad.
stream, bug guns never tire, which I thought was a great line. So there you are. So these
So the
are the
gun
new
is just-
artillery beasts for the Tyranids. They are both refreshes, but really significant miniature refreshes of some classic units. So first off, we've got the Biovore.
So yeah, it is the
Has
Biovore,
been part of the Tyranid
but
army
it
since
looks
I think
wild.
second edition. Changed a few times over the years in terms of its aesthetic. I remember
looks
a very early
wild.
one, and then it kind of became a bit orky, and then it became a little bit less orky, and now it is a very different kind of aesthetic, but one that I think is very
great.
cool and kind of absolutely in keeping with the idea of a.
The gun just looks like an
artillery.
entirely
it
separate
looks
creature
like a
that's
kind of heavy
hanging on
thing,
to
doesn't
the
it? It kind of
actual
beds in,
Tyranid.
sort of ticks into
I mean, I
the
know
ground
that
and,
obviously it's
and
Tyranid
fires.
itself,
Big
but
claws you can
that's
see,
just
ramming into the ground to kind of give it that stability.
Yeah. So what do we know about
no,
Biovore?
I really
then?
like
So
it.
the Biovore's big living artillery pieces, after anchoring themselves
mental.
off the ground with those big long chitinous spurs.
That, I mean, that's got
as you can
nothing
see
like
there on
the
bottom right,
current
those are
one.
the spore mines, so they basically keep a bunch of them in that sort of egg-sacky looking bit at the back of the gun, and then there's a massive muscle spasm as they fire them out, and then the spore mines drift across the battlefield, and if they don't land and immediately explode,
Yeah, that, I mean,
they will float along.
it
and
looks
then explode.
nothing like
Can
nothing
we talk about
like
the
the
miniature for a
current
little
one.
bit to start with? So.
And I'm okay
This is
with it, actually.
really different looking, I think, from the previous Biovore.
Yes.
I'm okay
so
with
it
it.
has
This
much
looks
more
great.
of a kind of almost crab-like insectoid aesthetic.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Hello
There's
to
an
Sneaker.
almost tank-like feel because it's got almost like a beetle shell. To
Yeah,
it.
this,
I can
honestly,
imagine
this
it
looks
sputtering, whereas before
this looks
it was
very
almost
Starship
lumber.
Troopers to me,
Yeah, a
actually.
little bit clumsy almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously
It
one of the
looks
things
very
about Tyranids is
Starship
that they
Troopers to
evolve,
me.
they get better at whatever the form is that they need to take to do the job properly. They'll eventually kind of
But not
reach
in a
it.
bad way.
The cannon on the back looks like it means business as well.
Oh,
Like, It is a
yes.
pretty
That's like a
scary
that's,
looking gun.
that's a way better design than the previous one. I mean, the previous one
So
was
in game
old
terms,
AF.
these do a few things for you. So people who've been playing Tyranids for a long time will be kind of familiar with the concepts, but fundamentally it does a couple of things for you. The first thing it does is it gives you some long range artillery support.
So it's still-
Crucially,
it's still
it can
long-range
fire stuff that
artillery,
it can't see,
but-
so that's really useful. It's got indirect fire. That's great for kind of catching little enemy units that are hiding in buildings and sitting on objectives, thinking they're quite happy.
I like the fact
The other
that
thing
the
that it does, which is really useful,
spore
is that you can lift
things
the spore
are
mines
more like
around the
uniform as
battlefield,
well.
and that's great because you can block off bits of the battlefield and do clever stuff with blocking enemy units.
The design
and
of them is
making
fun
them have
too.
to take damage if they move to certain places, and
Just
and
look like little baby
mind games,
versions of the big
basically.
guns,
So,
which is great.
It does more for you than if it was just a big gun on the back of a bug. Basically.
That's it.
Yeah, so very cool. So that's one way you can build the kit. This is a dual kit. You can also build it as a
Okay.
Pyrovore. So this is looks sort of similar on the face of it, but has a very
That-
different battlefield
That
role.
massive
Alex,
like
what's a
bit of
Pyrovore?
So these
chitin
guys get a
coming
little
around the
bit
back
closer.
of the gun
These are
looks
essentially
mad.
pre-digestion beasts. So we've heard of all the feeder beasts that come along afterwards and they gobble up all the biomass.
I'll
These
try
guys
and
basically get
tell
there
GW
first,
to stop making good
spread the
nid models,
digested
can't you?
juices to start melting things
I'll do my
down,
best.
get access to all those juicy nutrients.
Need some
and
kind of
stuff they're
parasitic
after.
tentacles linking the
So
gun to
when
the
these
It's
guys
like when you
bicycle.
put vinegar on the chips before you start eating.
I can see it.
And
That
yeah,
might
so
that might
these guys
actually
basically dripping with
improve it a little
acid,
bit.
And the
But
big gun on
it still
top,
looks
instead of firing
still looks
spore mines,
decent. It still looks
basically,
really decent.
Fires out a burning chemical flame that can incinerate everything around it. And then after it's done that, come along.
Yeah,
gobble
the
up all
paint
flesh.
job is also
Nice, lovely.
really nice.
So in game terms, this
Yeah.
has almost the opposite role from the Biovore. The Biovore sits at the back of the battlefield, probably on your kind
Like
of
the
backfield,
veiny-
lobbing spore mines across the battlefield.
The
This is the opposite.
veiny
This is scuttling
sacks
forward
on its-
or podding
on
in with a
its gun.
Tyrannocyte or something, and then basically forming the
No.
part of your early assault. So
Feel
this is
regret for
softening
saying
up
that
the
out
enemy
loud.
for either for eating or for assault phase or something like that.
Oh dear.
It also, in game
like
terms,
it
it's got
back
the
as I
ability to
said
kind of
it.
take away enemy cover saves. So you can imagine it's kind of
Red
literally
Terror is the last
burning through
resin.
their cover. So if you're trying to hide behind
there's
a tree,
gotta be a new
all of
Red
a sudden
Terror,
the tree
right?
is covered in weird biological acid and is now just a little steaming puddle.
No, Red
and
Terror
you're
isn't even
exposed
on
to the firepower of the
on
rest
the
of the
side for
Tyranid
me.
forces.
One
So-
of my favourite things about this is, as it did before, is that because it's so stuffed full of these kind of like explosive gases, even if
The
you do
Bivor
manage
doesn't
to
look like
kill
it fires indirectly, and the
explode and kill
Pyrovore
you.
does. You know what? Actually, that's a good point.
It can also explode and
The
kill your own
Bivor
troops, so
gun
you do need to be a
looks
little
very,
bit careful about exactly
looks
where you
very,
put
like,
them. So if you've
directional.
got, little squads of these
But
running
then if you
around,
could model
there
it
is a
just like
danger
facing up a
sometimes
bit,
that they can-
then
they
I
can
think
do
it
a
would
little
look more
bit damage too.
artillery-like.
Which is why you want to throw them right into the middle of the enemy early on, so that when they explode, that it's the enemy that take the hits. But yes,
Oh yeah, there's got to be
relatively
Carnifex.
expendable. I
Although
suppose,
has
so
there
you
got to be
probably
Carnifex?
dropping these in alongside
Is the
some
Carnifex
Tyranid
kit
warriors
even
or
that
some,
old?
Genestealers or something like that, so they kind of support them, but close range.
I don't
fire
know whether it is
support.
or not. The Carnifex.
Soften up the target.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Okay,
Yeah,
so
those are pretty solid.
we've
That's
seen
a
loads of
massive
stuff so
upgrade
far.
for the
We've seen
Bivor,
new
especially.
Genestealers, we've seen
Massive
new gaunts,
upgrade.
we've seen loads of new Lictors, we've seen
Yes.
some fire support. Next up, the last of our Tyranid previews. We have the largest
Oh, the
new
last
miniature on
one?
its way for the Tyranids. Let's take a look at our
The last one?
last model.
Come on, I actually thought there'd be a little bit more, but I don't know what I was expecting in terms of what else it would be. I mean, that looks pretty... It's hard to gauge scale right now. There's a lot going on there. Gang. What the...
So
How
that
big
was
was
the
that?
Norn Emissary. This is a
Oh, okay,
terrifying,
the Norn Emissary.
giant
All right,
new
I
synapse
vaguely
psychic
know of that.
monster. Does everything, doesn't it? It's a huge new terror for the Tyranids. So, Alex, what do we know about a Norn Emissary?
So
That
the,
is-
when the High Fleet
That is
something
some
done and they wanted it done
Pacific Rim
they
shit
send one
right
of
there.
So when we think of like a big synapse creature, we think of it like as a leader. But
That's
it's gonna
great.
be in charge of a part of the army.
Look at the size of
It's
it.
going to be a monstrous creature that performs some sort of task. As
Is
part
that
of the army.
a
But
is
not
that
these guys?
is that
These
a,
guys are created.
what is
for
it,
a very specific
130
purpose,
mil
and they're given essentially a
oval
level
base?
of individuality, so they can make decisions on the
Is
fly.
that basically a night
to
base?
benefit them. to
Is that
complete their
is that
mission,
fully
which is
night
something
sized?
You don't really see with any of the Tyranids. They're not given
I feel like
any
it.
kind of
I feel
self-control,
like it is. I
whereas
feel
the,
like that is
the emissary
a night base.
is basically given whatever leeway it needs to complete its task.
Is it 130?
emissary
Is it
in
140
particular
oval? I
Tends
can't
to be
remember.
sent after enemy commanders. They're sort of
But, oh
a
my God.
supersized assassin, and you can see from that brain
That's-
that
that's
they've got some
bloody
pretty potent
huge, that
psychic
is.
potential.
Yeah. So if we can have a look at the model for
Yeah,
to start
the
with, this is a big
brains are
kit. So
great.
like that is a hefty base. This guy stands taller than a Wraith Lord basically on the battlefield. So it's a big old monster standing
Yeah,
taller,
taller
than,
than a
things
Wraith Lord.
like,
Okay.
anything else that's plastic basically in your current
So it
Tyranid
is. So it is
army.
night sized.
He's got loads of weaponry for kind of up close killing. So he's got this huge, great scythes. He's got his claws.
That is
He's got some pretty
mad.
significant ranged psychic firepower as
great.
well. So when you're coming up against this guy, he's going to be blasting you
Look
with
at
kind of
that.
psychic bolts
Oh,
as well.
the back is
As
badass.
we've seen with some of the other kits for the Tyranids, there are loads of
Way
like
more
really
brains and
lovely,
tentacles
luscious
coming out
little
the back of
details
him.
all over this.
That is
In
solid.
terms of the way that what initially looks to be one creature is actually like a composite of loads
Oh,
of different
no.
symbiotes. So you look
Oh,
on the back
no.
there, and you've got weird little. I guess they're kind of psychic booster brain
Yeah.
I
things.
really
But
want
those
it.
could individually each
I really want it.
another creature. So
I mean, they
Him
probably
more
are.
gay.
yeah, so if you just want to make it more and more capable,
Wow.
you just keep adding brains.
Doreen
so
did
maybe
not
each
know
one of
what
those
to
is
make
like,
of that, Greg.
a detail of the task or something like this.
Doreen
one
looked at
knows
that
all
and
the
went,
planetary
"Him
codes for
bloggy,"
That's
the
it.
world you're
which
trying
is
to go
definitely
to.
what
And
you
this
would
one,
go for.
Has all we know about the Codex Astartes. So if some of those space marines turn up, you can eat them.
Provided
something
list
like that.
building stays the same, I want to take
A
three
very
of them.
impressive centerpiece kit. So Tyranids have got
I
loads
mean-
of like big monster kits, and obviously one of the ways that you can play a Tyranid army
if-
is to kind of lean heavily into the kind of monster mash sort of style. But this is absolutely, if you've got that kind of army, you want to have one of these at the center of it because it looks
Wait, did he say?
very
Hang
imposing,
on,
very cool.
I've
Towers
auto-corrected
over
here.
something like
Did they
enemy
say
captains
Wraith
and
Knight or
champions
Wraith
and things
Lord?
like that. And has the strength
Because
and psychic
Wraith
might
Lord
to basically
isn't
take on
actually that
pretty
big,
much
is it?
anything in the game. Like this is one of the kind of alpha units, I guess. Of the
If it's a
Tyranids.
Wraith Knight, then it's going to be massive.
Right, but this is a
it's a
dual
Wraith
kit.
Lord,
it's
So
not-
there's 2 things you can make. So the Norn Emissary is the first one, a kind of honed precision killer. The other unit you can make with this is the Norn Assimilator. So Alex, what's a Norn Assimilator?
So the Norn Assimilator is basically
Okay.
similar in task to the Emissary, whereby
You said
it's
Lord.
got a specific
It's not
task,
gonna
a
be anywhere
specific
near as big as I
target
thought
that it
then.
needs to take out. But rather than necessarily
Because
a
Wraith Lord
commander,
isn't that big.
it might be an enemy monster or a vehicle or a fortification. So where
It's much less subtle.
yes, so where the Emissary is almost akin to a sniper taking out a key target, this is like sending a bulldozer to make sure that whatever gets hit gets crushed. And as you can see there's
That
some
isn't
pretty
as
tasty
that
differences
isn't
between
as
the kits.
fun as
He's not
the
equipped with the,
previous
the
one.
psychic
That isn't
brains,
as fun as
it
the
were.
Emissary.
He's got brawn.
Yes,
He's got
he does.
brawn.
The horns on the front
the
make
two weapons
it
on the
look
bottom
like
are his
a
toxin
demonic
injector
thing,
harpoons.
which I don't.
These pack
I'm not a particular
absolute
fan of.
and they're going to go through anything they hit. And you can see he's got those barbs on the chest.
There's
as well, so
just
if
as
anybody
not-
tries to get away from him,
There's
he
like
can
just
strike
not
them,
as
strike
much
them back.
visual interest going on.
And there's a kind of toxic feel to this model
Yes.
as well. So on the base, obviously, you've got that kind of burning, acidic look. But those harpoons,
I don't like
there
the face
look
as
like
much as the
they're
Emissary.
kind of primed with poison and things. So while you might send in the
like,
Norn Emissary
poison claws
to
are cool.
capture an enemy commander, this guy's not taking prisoners.
The poison
he is
claws
like
are cool.
skewering enemy units and
barbs
like
in the
ripping
chest,
open
I'm not-
bunkers
I'm
and
not a
destroying
fan of.
everything that's inside. So he's just an absolute like battering ram of death.
Okay, there we go.
So there you can see we talked about the scale of this guy. So that is a Wraith Lord. Wraith Lords are pretty big. They're
Pretty
about
big,
the same
yeah.
height as a Redemptor, I think.
Yeah,
in that kind of
Okay, so
ballpark.
bigger. So
he's going to look about
bigger
right
than a
going toe-to-toe
Redemptor,
with,
not
like,
as big
the-
as a
the kind
Knight.
of medium walkers. Maybe not quite the same height as something like a
Sort of in
Knight,
between.
but actually the
Okay.
combat output on some of these isn't too far off that kind of ballpark. So you could start to
That's
you
still
can
pretty-
threaten
that's still
pretty
pretty
much anything in
decent
40K,
size.
okay.
But yeah, those are.
I think I would have preferred it to be
harpoons,
bigger.
As you can imagine, as a harpoon can be fired out at range.
There's something to be
but
taken out of context,
simultaneously,
isn't it?
You can also use them in combat, and they're, if anything, they're even worse.
Weirdly, I
but one of
feel
the big
like
things
they
with
could just
both of these
scale
kits
that up and
is
it would
that
look just
they
as
have
good.
a
I mean, it is still
similar
pretty
purpose.
big, though. It is still
So
pretty big.
whilst
It's not a
the,
small model by any
Tyranids
means.
might be like, take the planet, eat the things. These guys have been told, I just want that commander dead.
Yeah,
want
I
that vehicle
definitely
dead.
think the Emissary
Send
is
them after it.
the Emissary
As part
is a
of
bit
that,
cooler.
They get some special rules to do so.
Definitely a bit cooler.
So when they are attacking,
I
their
think
target,
Armiger is about the
they'll
same
get some
size as
rerolls,
Redemptor in it.
or if they are specifically after
can't
an
remember.
objective,
I
they'll
think
get the
Armigers
bonus.
aren't as big as.
So they've got some play in
Yeah,
game,
they're not-
basically.
Yes.
So if you can either
Armigers
go,
aren't
there is an enemy
massive.
unit that I just absolutely want to. I know that if I
think
kill that
Armigers and
unit,
Redemptors are
that the
about
game
the
is going to
same
go
height.
favourably for me. You can go, this model is going to kill that unit, or you can go, this is the objective that the game is going to
Yeah,
pivot around.
it
I'm going to go
does-
for that.
it looks
objective,
decent,
in which case
but
you get bonuses.
the
to
Emissary
this
is
unit's ability
definitely
when
like
it's near
top
that.
tier for me.
That's it. As you said, I think even
Definitely
though he's
top
maybe
tier.
not quite
This
got the
isn't
height or
bad,
the bulk of a
but-
knight, given his special rules, if he wants to target a knight, I don't think he's going to last long.
There you go. Okay, so that
interesting.
is, I think sometimes you see new units added to Warhammer 40,000. You're like, that is going to be one of the things to watch.
Yes.
And if you're
I
going
mean,
to
everyone's
going to
want the
how can I
Emissary
find
straight
space
off
for
the
this
bat.
bloody gentleman in
Just
my
straight
force?
off the bat.
And if you're going to go up against Tyranids, you're going to have to work out how you deal with a model like that. So
All three.
That is
A
that is
model like that,
our roundup
all
for the
three
Tyranids.
of
So
those.
loads of great new miniatures
Just
on the
saying.
show. There we had new Genestealers, new gaunts, new Lictors, new living artillery, and new Norn Emissaries, which is very cool. So loads of stuff on the way.
Did you have a particular favourite?
Did I ever? So I like the Genestealers. Like it's all cool, but I think
Question
I've
is,
just got
do
a
we
soft
mute
spot
them now, or
for
do we wait to see if they
Genestealers.
unveil something
yourself out.
out of left field?
I
Okay.
was torn between
In a moment.
the Assimilator and the Neurolictor, but there's just
What do we
something
reckon?
about it. It's that kind of insidious creature that gets
Emissary
behind the
and
lines and causes
Bio
troubles. The same
/
stories
Pyrolord.
you've heard about
Yeah,
Lictors for
I think
years,
that's-
and now it's with
I think that's
the
fair.
psychic might behind it.
Very cool. Right, so all of those new
they have a
Tyranid
sneaky
miniatures
peek
are
right
on
at
the
the
way
end,
later this year. They all come out
they have a
alongside
sneaky
the
peek?
new Codex Tyranids, which we can confirm is the first Codex of the new edition. So if you've got a Tyranid force, paint up your Leviathan army, have fun with that. Plenty more reinforcements on the way.
Oh my
Space
god!
Marine players.
Did you hear
I know
that?
we didn't get to see any new Space Marines today.
Did you hear that?
You can't win them all. literally can't win them all. But there's plenty new Space
they
Marine
just
miniatures on
say-
the way in the not too distant future, so we will still get to see all of those. They'll still get
Tyranids
released.
are the
You just don't get to
first
see them.
codex of the new edition.
A big thank you for all of you who joined in.
I mean,
A
it's
special
not-
big thank you if you took part in the
You mean
Battle
it's
for
not
Ogram
Space
campaign.
Marines? I actually can't
Battle,
remember.
It's been really, really fun.
Where
I'd like to
Space
say,
Marines have
thank you
been
to Alex.
in the
Thank you
last
for having me.
edition.
A big
But
thank
you
you
know
to Nick
what?
for making sure all the tech worked, and a thank you for Notley.
Do you think
in the
Nick
chat
will
for
come and
keeping
sort
you
out my
honest.
tech next time we
A
stream?
reminder, if you are thinking of starting either a Tyranid or a Space Marine army,
Look.
a couple of great
Alright,
box sets out there that you can do it with. There is the Leviathan box, which you will still be able to find in a few places.
Yep.
It is sold out online, but there are a few stores dotted around.
I mean, actually,
that
yeah,
still have
being
a few
like the
copies.
first
So get in touch
codex
with
out
your
isn't
local Warhammer
actually
store,
great.
Your local independent retailer. See if they still got copies. That box is a brilliant place to start either a Tyranid or a Space Marine force.
Because everything
Equally,
gets better after that
if you
first
want something
codex,
a little
doesn't
bit
it?
smaller, there
Let's
are
be
some
honest.
new starter sets that are on
You don't
pre-order
want to be
today
first,
from
and you don't want to be
GameStop.com
last.
and also from local retailers.
That's the rule. You want to be
So have a look
somewhere
out for that too.
around the
There's
middle.
A range of different great box sets to start a Tyranid or a Space Marine force.
Indeed.
With that, I thank you all again for coming, and we will roll through a last video wrapping up all of the great
Oh, here we
reveals
go.
we've had today. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Is it going to be something
One
sneaky and
world
cheeky in
is
there?
consumed, but many more await,
Trade us so much
full of
louder.
biomass for the taking.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we've got new stuff we've seen. We're just getting an itemized list now. Okay, great. Come on, maybe something at the end. That one standing on his left, like doing a straight up pose, is so not the move. Any chance? Any No. No. Okay. Well. Look, it was worth it was worth it. It was worth staying just to see, wasn't it? It was worth staying just to see. You never knew. You never know. You never know when you might get something something cheeky and new showing up as a little tasty hint as to things to come. Of all of those, I mean, yeah, of all of those, the Biovore and the Emissary, definitely the best two for me. The Biovore looked crazy. Like, the massive artillery gun was absolutely solid. The Emissary is hands down one of the best things they've done. Although, actually, no, you know what? Let's be fair. The Neuro Leaper, I think it was. The Neuro Leaper also looked pretty damn good. The Neuro Leaper also looked pretty damn good. I did like that. I mean, it's it's kind of super interesting when we have those kind of previews, because like a lot of that stuff was just like a refresh of something old, right? So we had just new Genestealers, we had new gaunts, we had new Death Leaper. Like, a lot of it is just upgrade or updating and upgrading what we've had before. But at this point, there's so many things that need updates. Neuro Elixir, that's it, thank you. I kind of don't mind when it's like just a bunch of upgrades, because it's like that stuff is generally so old that it just needs upgrades. Like, it just needs it really, really badly. I'm not trying to remember if I still got... No, I don't. I did have a Red Terror for a while, but I think I got rid of it at some point. Kind of a shame that we didn't see a new Red Terror. That's kind of a pity. But, you know, that might be something that's updated in the future. Might be something that's updated in the future. They should have had some of the unrevealed Space Marines painted up as corpses in the outro. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. That would have been hilarious. That would have been amazing. If they'd done that, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 if they'd done that. Does make me wonder, though. Does make me wonder. So, most of that preview was updates to old stuff, right? It was just taking old things that have been around for years, bringing them up to date. What have the Space Marines got that could do with the same treatment? Do you think that's what the Space Marine reveals are going to be? Do you think it's going to be the same thing, where we're just going to get, like, older stuff brought up to date? Or at this point, are they going to be doing new stuff for Space Marines? Because if we look at it, we had basically the box Naught back, but in Redemptor form. We had Terminators, which were just an update to Terminators. Like, the box kind of focused a bit on nostalgia. Do you reckon the new Space Marine updates are going to be, like, new Space Marine preview, that's going to be the same deal as this one? Or is it just going to be more new stuff? The thing is, I mean, Irregulation, we've already got bikers. Space Marines already have bikers. Yeah, we had new Tyranids Vanguard vets as well. So, I mean, at this point, I guess the main thing is that Space Marines are so far down the list of factions that need updates to what they've had before, because their range is so hilariously bloated. Oh, you know what, Joshua? That is a great point. Assault Terminators. Yeah, there's no way they do normal Terminators and not Assault Terminators. Thank you very much for joining Barton Farm. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. It's got to be Assault Terminators. Jump packs. Oh yeah, I guess jump pack assault intercessors also makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, actually, doesn't it? Because we've already got assault intercessors, but they are like on foot only. So jump packs make a huge amount of sense. Assault Terminators, Assault Marines. Time to update the Rhino from an old box to a newer box. I imagine if they did a new Rhino, though, that would be a bit mad. Was running a 2-monitor setup to see you and Valk at the same time, and he was livid at the end. He was convinced GW would fix it to be a draw. You know what, in this specific case, I reckon, I don't think they would, when I say I don't think they would dare, they're constantly trying to build up, like, goodwill with the community, aren't they? If they were just like, yeah, Space Marines get it again, they know full well that people are getting bored of Space Marine reveals, even if they're not getting bored of buying them. I think that's something that is, like, totally worth putting out, by the way. Games Workshop will know that people are like, oh, great, more Space Marine reveals. But they also know that loads of people will tune in. They also know that loads of people will tune in specifically to bitch about it. They also know that loads of people will buy Space Marines. However, Xenos players, because every faction is its own thing, and, you know, if a Space Marine player could be playing one of, like, 8,000 different chapters, so any Space Marine release is a good release. When it comes to Xenos, it's all splintered and split up, so Tyranid releases are no good for the rest of the people who play Xenos. So, if Tyranids are winning, they're not going to take that away, because that is a great way to actually make a smaller part of the customer base feel good and feel as though they're not getting just more Space Marine stuff they don't care about. The fact is, they could not reveal Space Marine stuff for another 2 months, and Space Marines would continue to sell ridiculously well, and it would have no impact on them whatsoever. But keeping up with the hype of the new Tyranid stuff, and just going with whoever won, in this case it being Tyranids, like, it'd be daft for them to just, like, fix it or change it when they're going to get way more goodwill doing what they just did. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, the Lieutenant jokes are through the company too. There are just references in Warhammer articles that are like, oh, look, it's another Lieutenant. And it's like, well, they know. They know people are bored of SM but made Epic Imperial only. Well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? That people who aren't, like, I don't know how, what's the best way to try and phrase it? People are bored about hearing about Space Marines, but they're not bored of buying them, I think is the main thing. Like, people are sick of seeing new Space Marine stuff, but at the same time, Space Marines continue to be the best-selling thing that they have. So it's like, yeah, people don't want to see it necessarily, but people are still buying them all the time. So why would you not do that? You know? Plus, it's also, like, less about it being, I think genuinely this time around it's less about it being epic and more about it being Horus Heresy, which I'm assuming must be doing pretty well. And also, they never underestimate the nostalgia side of things. It's like, it might not be the epic that we had before, but that won't matter to a lot of people because it's a type of epic, and they've wanted a type of epic. So every Xeno release is good for new players because it brings new stuff to people. With new stuff, people get more excited, and you get to play against more Xenos. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly the case. when Necrons were given the highlight in 9th, suddenly way more Necron armies appeared. It's almost like if they support the faction, it gives them a boost, but the boost doesn't have the same longevity as just Space Marines do as a thing. Epic is a test, and if it does good, it'll expand. Yeah, I think you're right, Brian. I'm pretty sure you're right. And it did start in Heresy, I think, didn't it? Yeah, Space Marine box set in 88 was Heresy based. So, yep. Also, people who watch this stuff and the majority of people who buy it are very likely not the same. That's actually also probably quite true. It's just super interesting because, you know, Space Marines just end up selling constantly all the time and loads of stuff, and it's like, but if you gave other people attention, they would sell too, and then they do it, and then it works, but then it always seems to settle back into the same old rhythm. You know what? I've been super impressed with Doreen today. She's been mostly on the ball. She ignored like one person, and that was because she's a bit Tory and just wouldn't get out of bed for that amount of cash. But you know what? She did well. Oh, thank you, Craig. You've got to drink water. Hydrating is important. Although I was drinking Coke earlier, so...
There's also an aspect of just making the website and stores look better. Seeing the big brain boy fighting a dread in the storefront would get folks love your work.
Wow, she missed out too. Doreen is getting tired. Thank you very much, Abstract Cowboy. You know, you're totally right. Like, just refreshing things makes a massive difference. And yeah, if you had like a Norn Emissary fighting a Brutalis Redemptor in a shop window, that's solid. That's great. Someone needs to make that happen because, I mean, let's face it, most of us, what we're really here for is kaiju action. That's not true. That's not remotely true. That's where the not Cadia Imperial Guard regiments are right now. They get no attention, so nobody buys them. Because nobody buys them, they get no attention. Yeah. Yep. Oh no, that's not fair. No, occasionally they will do a made to order, which will cost loads. Yeah. That's, that's how that works. You get to pay way more for less. Fun. Oh, boo! Look, hang on a second, gang. They've put the website back to normal. The website looks boring again now. Look, it looks boring again. It looked cool before. Now it looks boring again. Genuinely a bit of a shame, that. Genuinely a bit of a shame. So we've got... Do we have spinny views for anyone? That's what I want to know. Alright, okay. The thing that I wanted to take another look at was the... We're not clicking that because we'll get copyright claimed. It's this lad. I wanted to take another look at this lad. So this was the not Stealthy Lictors. What did we say this was? The Neuro Tyrant. I think it was. No, not the Neuro Tyrant. What was it called? What was it? I've already forgotten. A new strain of Lictor. Okay. Is it just me? Or am I... am I just like... Hang on. Look. Am I losing my mind here? A new strain of Lictor. Neurolictor, thank you. That's genuinely blowing my mind. Look. If we read that bit... It doesn't tell you what it is. It doesn't actually tell you what it is in that paragraph. Which is, like, thrown me really badly. It's thrown me, right? Also, that is totally a different bit of scenery on that other Lictor. So, That's super interesting. You just get 2 different types of scenery. Also, he's way more zoomed in than the other one, so it makes him look way bigger. I just keep getting confused with the Neuro Tyrant because they're both tentacle-looking idiots with big brains. I mean, that's the truth of it. It's like basically the same idea twice, isn't it? Which is not a complaint because they both look cool, but you know. Yeah, it's already got me. The Neurolictor's already got me because I can't think about it. It's like those things like a Doctor Who, the silence or whatever. I've been silenced by Neurolictor. I can't even comprehend that it exists. I mean, yeah, overall, this is a really fun model. It is really cool. It's just the pose cracks me up a little bit. The pose cracks me up just a little bit because it's so dramatic. It's like it was walking, like, that way. And then something caught its eye, so it just turned and it was like, whoa. It's just such a weird pose. But at the same time, the tentacle face is great. All the like claws coming out the top, also fantastic. The weird brain tentacle coming out the back, I actually quite like. I like it more than the one on the other one, the Death Leaper. Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
Wait, I just got here. WTF is that?
It's the Neurolictor. It's the Neurolictor, Kellen. And thank you very much. New Tyranid beastie. Super dramatic. Got a flair for showing off. It's the pose from the Thriller music video. Yeah, you're not wrong, actually. It is a bit like that. Yeah, it didn't turn its head. It cartoon turned its entire body. Yeah. And it's on a tactical rock. It's got everything. It's got a bit of everything, this thing. It's got style. It's got poise. It's got grace. A flair for the dramatic. It's right there. And then, yeah, we've got the Death Leaper. Who still looks amazing. Still looks amazing, by the way. That version of the Lictor is just way cooler. It just is. It just looks cooler. That, fine. That, amazing. Does the tactical rock have an eye? I don't think it did. Right, where's the Norn Emissary so we can see the scale of it again? Biovore and Pyrovore. Have they just not updated the other? Let's do a quick refresh. Where is it? I mean, we need to look at this anyway because this is grand. That gun is hilarious. It's great. It's great. Yeah, I can't see the Norns. I mean, it's so good. It's so good, and it's so much better than the old one. It's so much better than the old one. In fact, actually, let me get the old one. Let me get the old one up, because, oh my god, we've got to do a side by side, because the difference is just hilarious. Okay, look at it. Oh man. New Biovore, old Biovore. I mean, let's be real here. Let's be honest. Okay, let's just let's be totally honest here. Why were they still selling that? Gang, why were they still selling the old Biovore? Can you even believe that they're still selling, or at least they were still selling that? Can you believe it? I mean, oh my god. Oh my god. Absolutely wild. And then you look at the new one. Oh. I mean, it's just so much better in every single way. I can barely... The fact that it's not the same model, it's the same unit name. They are very, very different. Which is just as well, because, Jesus Christ, lads. Oh my god. This one looks like an old man getting out of an armchair after a long day doing nothing. That's what this one looks like. That's exactly what it is. He's got that old man grimace. That one, solid. Absolutely solid. Probably because no one bought the models. It's stock from the first run. Oh. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That is dire. Be strong, Clarence. Be strong for the hive mind. Oh. Okay. So what we can see the Norns if we go to latest. If we go to there, can we see it? I mean, I still can't see it. What am I doing wrong here? The old one part orc. Was that this one, or was it a previous one? Was it that one or the other one? I actually don't know. I mean...
I would pay good money for new Talon, Valhallans.
I mean, I agree. Especially Valhallans. Thank you very much, Captain. Just on their Twitter? Alright. I'll just go to their Twitter and get the direct link to it then. We'll do it that way. Norn Emissary. There we go. Got it. Oh, it's so good. That is so good. It's so good. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. It's just first class, that thing. I don't know why I like it so much more than the other one, you know. It's just something about, like, the shape of the head is like... The shape of the head is a bit cooler. It hasn't got as much stuff coming out of the face. Coming out of the mouth and stuff. The brains. All the brains. The brains make a massive impact. It's definitely the brains. The brains are doing it. The brains are definitely doing it. I do kind of wish it was a bit bigger. But you know what? It doesn't look... It's not like small. But I would have loved to have seen it be like night
That
sized.
big guy looks terrifying.
Thank you very much, Infinite Freedom. Yeah, it's absolutely solid. It is absolutely solid. You know what? Cohesive is a great way to put it. It is more cohesive. It is just flat out more cohesive. It looks like... I don't know, it looks more intentional. It just looks better. I don't know how else to, like, it's such like a not constructive thing to say, but it just looks so good. All the little tentacles going out the back, all the little brains coming out like the organic chimney bits out the back. Oh, so good. That's interesting. So, hang on. On that picture in the top one, it's got like massive claws, but none of that venom stuff, like no venom sacs or whatever. But scrolling down, it looks like the venom sacs are an option for him. So does that mean that the two of them have got some interchangeable war gear? Like the Emissary and the Assimilator, like they've got like similar war gear? Because if that's the case, that's really cool. I really hope that is the case. If it was just scaled up that little bit more, though, if it was just scaled up to be nice size, it would be absolutely perfect. But then again, I'm a bit biased. I like giant mechs and vehicles and monsters. So, I mean, clearly I like giant monsters. I've become addicted to just making stupid cosmic horror mega gargants that are bigger than knights. So obviously I want giant monsters. But yeah, it's so good. So good. So good. Oh, this is a totally separate model. Godfroth. So this isn't like a Hive Tyrant replacement. It's its own thing. So yeah, it's height wise it is pretty sizable. You know what might work well for wings for that as well? The wings off a vampire, a zombie dragon / Terrorgeist. Those wings would look great on it. I have some of those wings spare. Oh, when this is released, maybe that's the thing to do. Stick giant wings on it just for the lols. Yeah, the assimilate. It's, you know what it is? It's not as imposing. For some reason, the assimilator is not as imposing. Which is weird, because it's overall, like, the overall shape of it is pretty much the same. But it just doesn't have the same presence. And I think, you know what, I think genuinely a big part of it is that head. It is the head. That, like, swept back heighting with the brain sticking out the top and sticking out the side just makes it look more threatening. Because that's just got carapace over the top, right? It's just got carapace over the top of it, and it's got a little head, which just makes it look a bit like a... It makes it just look more, I don't know, Carnifex-esque? Hive Tyrant-esque? I mean, I've got a Hive Tyrant around here somewhere, and it is basically like a scaled-up Hive Tyrant. But like, the carapace takes away a lot of the detail and takes away a lot of the like top-heavy nature of the emissary. Whereas that has just got more presence. It's just got more presence. It looks more visually impressive. Just more impressive overall. Plus that kind of like single spike at the front of the head, to me, is just way more visually pleasing than those two spikes. The two spikes weirdly don't look right, whereas the single spike does, and I cannot, for the life of me, explain why that is the case. I don't know. Yeah, it's almost like this one does need the forehead sword more than the other. Which is, again, weird. Weird. The head, crest, and brain give it a lot more oomph. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So is there... So you said there's a Wraith Knight painted... Oh my god, yeah, there is. Painted as a statue in the back. It's a little hard to tell because it's a bit further back. Yeah, I mean, it's nowhere near as tall as a Wraith Knight, is it? But it is still a decent height. Updated plastic... Dimacheron. I don't remember what that looks like. The Dimacheron. Oh, that. Alright, yeah, I remember now. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, yes, that thing. I think you're right. I think it is like an updated version of that. Or like just a slightly different version. We zoom into that a little bit. They're not a million miles away, are they? Definitely not a million miles away. Yeah. Although I will say this one definitely has more of a scaled up Hive Tyrant feel than the Dimacheron. Hello, Decknell, how you doing? There's no flecks of poo, so we're doing okay. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Oh, you lot. Right, here you go. If you want a t-shirt, this is the worst. I keep like, promoting this, even though it's terrible. I keep doing it, even though I actively don't like what it is. if you need a new T-shirt, right? If you need a new T-shirt and you want to demonstrate that you are not a cheater, there is merch available for that. There's merch available. You can get your own I Lick My Dice T-shirt that was terribly designed live on stream with absolutely no graphic design capabilities whatsoever. You can get one right now. I think you can get it like from the description of the video. It's a thing you can do. You shouldn't buy one, but you could. You could. And I'm just leaving it there. So terrible. So many people bought that, by the way, and it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. Oh, you know what? We should get... Okay, let's get some Genestealer comparisons up. Get some pure strain Genestealers, not just normal Genestealer broods. You know what? Actually, now, yeah. I mean, it already seemed like a really big upgrade, and now it seems like an even bigger upgrade. Seeing them like side by side. That's quite the difference in it. That is quite the difference. Thank you, Mikey. I hope your stream was good. You weren't disappointed by the lack of Space Marines, were you? Surely you were. I mean, you're probably fine either way. So bad it's good. It's not good. No way. They don't... No, I'm not having that. The old Genestealers look the same as the new ones? Absolutely not. No. Look, alright, so old Genestealers, there is some carapace going on. I mean, admittedly, the way they've painted them here, there doesn't look like there's much carapace going on, but there's less than on the new ones. The new ones have a more distinctive carapace. They have more of a distinctive kind of like the sections of chitin going along the spine are a lot more defined, a lot more angular. The claws are just flat out bigger. Claws are way bigger. The detail on them is way more crisp and clean as well. Like, they're way more clean. That's not to say there isn't detail on these, but when you look at them, it's just not to the same level. It's just not to the same level. These just... I mean, the fact is that when the old ones, right, when this Genestealer brood was released, it was years ago. These are like decades old or something. What did we say? At least like 16 years old or something. And frankly, Games Workshop has just got better at sculpting stuff since then. You can argue whether or not you think the concepts of the different units are better now than they were then. Like, that's definitely like a matter of opinion thing as to whether like the overall idea behind the stuff is improved or got worse. But just for sculpting, they can do things much more crisp, much more clean, much more highly detailed, and that is absolutely the case with these. Like, these just are not as... like, almost like... the definition on them is just nowhere near as good. These look great. Like, the new ones look great. The scaled up claws do work. The poses are better. The poses are just better versions of what they already had. They're just slightly more dynamic. Just every part of what's gone into them is an improvement over what they were able to do when the first ones were... well, not first ones, but, you know, the other ones were released. So, these look way... not like... they don't look totally different to me, but they do look significantly different to my eye. And, yeah, they still have a Cthulhu face. They still have the Cthulhu face. There we go, look. They still have it. And it looks better. That Cthulhu face is fine. That Cthulhu face is 10 out of 10. I mean, that's great. Yeah, there's like actual muscle definition. They got an HD remaster. Basically, yeah. That's pretty much what it comes down to with a lot of Games Workshop's updated models. They just get an HD remaster. But the thing is, the original concept is still good. It's just the execution is... I mean, it reflects how old the model was, so... If they had the options to give everyone a Cthulhu face, be 100% fine with them. I mean, I'm the same. If they had that head 10 times over, that would be 10 out of 10. Did they say you could do the whole box of those heads? I think we were talking all over them when they when they were talking about it. I'm pretty sure we were just talking all over him at that point. Which, you know, it happens. It happens. Enough for all them to be tentacled. Oh, well, yeah, no, you're right. There are enough tentacled heads. I tried to pronounce that. It's right there on the screen, gang. It's right there. It says it right in front of me, and I didn't notice. I was too busy scrolling up and down. There are even enough betentacled Irmgal heads. Yermgal, Imgal, Irmgal heads included out of the whole unit. You know, just that makes it 10 out of 10. That makes it 10 out of 10. Would read again. I'm going to read it again. There are enough potential. Yeah, whatever. Love it. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. See, they know. They know what the people want. What the people want is tentacles. It's well known at this point. It is very well known. That's what the people need. It's what they're after. The other optional head is sus. Yeah, the other optional head is gross, and I'm not interested in that. But that's the thing, Brian, right? I always like it when one guy's a different head. Give 9 of them tentacle heads, and one dude a non-tentacle head. You still get what you want. Solid. And it's genius when you think about it. So yeah, we've had a look at the new Elixir, the Genestealers. I mean, the Termagants and Hormagants are, like... we already know what some of them look like. Well, we already knew that there were going to be new ones anyway. All these need to do, right, to be better than the old ones, all they need to do, these, is not tip over. That's it. That's all we're after. As long as they don't tip... Oh, interesting. Can you see what I can see? The arrow on the right on my screen is leaving behind a hilarious trail of absolutely mangled sections. Anyway, all these have to do is not fall over. That's it. That's it. They already have a variety of cool poses. That's awesome. They look way more like dynamic than the old ones did, by a long shot at that. But they do... You know what? Some of them it looks like it's going to be fine. So these ones here look like they should be okay. They look like they should be okay. They are on like what 28mm instead of 25mm bases. It looks like the bases are a little bit bigger than the previous ones. But there are some of them that are still very like leaning over the front of the base. Like these two could be an issue. Could be an issue because they are quite like leaned. And that was the main thing, wasn't it? Like the old ones, like not necessarily anything wrong with them, so to speak, but they just fell over constantly, which was not great. And I want to know if these are going to do that as well. Also, this guy, this lad right here, just standing, like doing like a weird straight up jump. Whose idea was that? It just looks weird. It just looks odd. It's like, why is he doing it? Such a weird pose. Such a weird pose. It's all like attention seeking. Why? I don't know. The rest of them, though, pretty grand. There's a little bit of difference between them as well. Some of them have got like a little bit of a spike at the front. Some of them don't. Some of them had a bigger spike than others. So there's still like little personalisation things going on. Just tiny, teeny bits. There's glee in his eyes. He's jumping for... He's not landing. No, he is not landing. I refuse that. What the hell angle is he coming in at to land like that? What has he jumped off to land like that? That's what I want to know. And you can't give me an answer, can you? No. No, you can't. Even if you're typing one right now, I refuse to accept it. Childish. Yeah, overall they're way better. And we got some new guns as well. Some of which are just nods to old guns. The spine rifle thing really does look dodgy. It just does. It just really does. It really looks off. Really looks that. Just questionable. Questionable gun choices going on here. Super questionable. I appreciate the additional choice, but yeah. You know what? The more I look at Rippers, the more they freak me out, because I just never ever noticed that they had little tiny claw legs before, and then someone pointed it out to me, and it's just ruined them for me. It's just ruined them for me. Overall, these do look decent, though. Story of the day for most of these, to be fair. Don't think there's anything in there that I didn't actually like. Like, all the stuff that we saw. I liked all of it to some extent. Obviously, there's little bits here and there that like aren't always up to like personal taste, but that doesn't really matter when overall the whole lot together looked really decent. There's some really cool different updates. Genestealers are way up there. They need an update, and the new ones look really good while still being really faithful to the old ones. Plus, like the tentacle head inclusion, having enough of the whole squad, that is a 10 out of 10 choice. The Lictor and the Neurolictor are solid. The Neurolictor is class. Absolutely class. Love that one. The Biovore and the Pyrovore are an insane upgrade over the previous ones. I can't get over how much better the new Biovore looks. I can't get over how much better it looks. Mostly because it doesn't look anything like it. That's the main reason. It doesn't look anything like the other one, which is why it's so good. Because the other one looks bad. It looks old and it looks bad. It probably didn't look bad when it first showed up, if we're being charitable. But in comparison now, it is wild how not like anything else it looks. But the new one, absolutely solid. And I'm not really sure why I get such heavy why I get such heavy like Starship Troopers vibes off the newer version, but I do, and I'm absolutely 100% okay with it. 100% okay with it. I mean, how could it not be? Sorry, a bird just flew into the window and it's probably dead. As for the Norn Emissary, again, it's like if it was night size, it would be perfect. It's not night size, but you know what? It's good. It's good. No, it's always looked bad, like a testicle gorilla. I mean, yeah, okay, that's all right. I'll give you that. Give you that. It does have a hint of testicle gorilla about it. Things I would never have thought to say out loud, but I mean, the problem is you're not wrong. In conclusion, cool Genestealers, cool Gaunts, cool Lictor, cool Crabs, cool Lobster, and cool Mummy. Sure. Yeah. Okay, I regret saying that out loud, but yeah, let's go for it. Oh my god. If there's anything that you want Doreen to say before we go, now is the time to do it. I think she's probably gone to bed. Oh my god. Why? Gang, why do I keep doing that? I keep putting my arm, like my hand on the chair and like pressing down, and it just makes all of that hurt. And I keep doing it. And I know it's gonna, I just keep forgetting. It's fine when it's like this. I don't notice it. But then as soon as I move it back there at a stupid angle, It trashes me. Also, I discovered a hack yesterday. I will just tell you this before we go, because I discovered the hack. So whilst the back bit was being done, like that, whilst that was being done, all of that bit, I was lying down on one of the beds with my arm just hanging off the side. Now that was a quality move, right? It was not comfortable. It really hurt because of having to have this arm up and like supporting my head. But this arm went totally numb after like 2 minutes. I was just cutting all the circulation off to my arm. So he was doing that bit, and it was like, this might be a bit sore, and I was like, no, I literally can't feel it. I can't even feel it. It's absolutely fine. I could do this for hours. But then I realised that this had gone totally numb, which is grand, but my entire upper half started to hurt from lying like this. So I didn't escape even then. I thought I got away with it clean. I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep. This is great. I can have a nap. But no, I got thwarted.
Glad you're still making content, pal. Thumbs up.
Oh, thank you very much, Black Templar. I'm still here. I refuse to leave. I refuse to stop. You know what? We're not... Jesus Christ. Okay. I think as soon as... no one is allowed to find a Norn Emissary sized jar, and do not ever speak of that again. That's atrocious, and you should feel ashamed of yourself. I'm not judging you, but I am judging you. Okay? And so's everyone else. Oh, God. Right. Last orders for Doreen, and then we're calling it quits. But we will be back on Monday. We will be back doing the Monday Ramble in the morning, obviously, because that's when I do that. And hopefully going to maybe stream Wednesday night as well. We'll see. We'll see how we go. That's the plan currently. But I couldn't even start this stream on time because we were like 9 minutes late or whatever it was, because YouTube wouldn't let me stream to the scheduled stream that I'd already set up, because it decided to change the stream key on me, which is fun times and definitely not slightly panic inducing. But we battled through it. We got there in the end, didn't we? We were here. It was okay. We did it. We did it, gang. We did it. Depending on when the next big preview happens, then we will try and do this again. It depends when they do these things. Sometimes when you do them at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not up for that. But if they do it at a sensible time, then yeah, that's also fine. You can't... Angus, look. I just want to see if she pronounces this correctly. Hang on. I don't know that Doreen is going to know what to do with that. I want to see if Doreen gets it right.
Lictor. I hardly knew her.
She did. She got it. She got it. She got it. Oh my god. Also, I do like that when I said, if you want Doreen to say anything, what you wanted Doreen to say was what you already said, what, like an hour ago now? It was to bring back an hour-old joke. That's what we went for. I mean, I respect it. I 100% respect it. That is, I mean, yeah, you went for it and you achieved it. And Doreen even said Lictor properly. I was honestly expecting her to mess it up. Oh, God. Right. Here's where I discover that I don't know how to turn streamers off. Also, I never ran a single ad. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me, gang? I didn't run one ad. No ads for the whole thing. I could have done. I could have just muted them and ran ads, but I didn't. Should I do one now, right at the end? I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. That goes against everything I stand for. I'm probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do it. I'm going to do insert ad and then end the stream straight away. If it shows you it, then I'm sorry. If it doesn't, then it won't matter because you won't see it. But We'll see. We'll see what happens. I might not. Got to stick around to find out. I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to everyone who super chatted, and thank you to 3 new members. You will get a shout out at the start of the next video. And yeah, I will see you. I will see you for the next one. I've done it. I've done it. Did it work? I don't know. I don't know if it did. I don't know if it did. We'll see. Depends how angry the chat gets, I suppose. Now I want to hang around and see if it worked. Or whether it even applies. It probably doesn't, does it? It probably just does it after the fact, and I could have been spamming it the whole time. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'll see you later, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your weekend.